No, this one.
Oh.
Ready, Amy? Hello and welcome to the regular meeting of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners. It's April 7th at 11 a.m. Please turn off or silence your cell phones, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting.
Oh, sorry, seconded.
Please, to a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Agenda is approved for today's meeting, and we will start with community information items. Also, would you like to go first?
Sure. So in taking my tax workshop, I learned that, Colorado has this legislation that removes taxes from groceries, medicines, there's like a whole list of categories of products that don't have taxes, that removes Colorado state sales tax. And then it's up to counties to adopt which of those products, all, none, or some, that have sales tax removed for county sales tax. And we have some of those taxes removed, but in particular, I wanted to get onto an agenda in front of us in the future. A removal of sales tax from period products and diapers, which include incontinence products for all ages. Because currently we have a lot of sales tax removed from like medicines, etc. Obviously groceries for our county sales tax, but not those things. And so Matt suggested that I bring it up here to make sure you guys would be okay with putting it on the agenda for us to talk about. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, and I think we just need a resolution to do that. It doesn't require an ordinance, so.
Great.
Could we ask for a fiscal impact, or is it nominal?
It's nominal.
Nominal.
It's like $6 a year per bleeding person. I don't know what it would be for somebody.
I mean, impact on our finances.
I'm saying $6 per year for a bleeding person. So if you assume we've got like 2,500 bleeding folks, 2,500, and let's say some of them buy their products in Lake County, which I don't. It's not a significant amount.
Okay. Maybe we talk about that in the future.
Is that good, Matt? Can we get that on the agenda?
Yeah,
Thank
got
you.
the agenda.
Since it's not a work session, I can't like put it into our work
Sure.
session things.
Put in a request.
That's it.
Request made, thank you guys. That's all for me.
Okay. A pretty cool week for fans of Easter egg hunts. If anyone wasn't paying a lot of attention to that, I thought what the group who usually runs the Easter egg hunt out at Cooper, what they did at the Ice Palace Park was really cool. The kids had a blast. There was 3,000 something eggs for the kids there, all packed by hand. And since Cooper couldn't host the egg hunt, that adjustment was pretty cool to see. And I don't know if I've ever seen that many kids in this community turn out for one Easter egg hunt, so that was pretty wild. And what the sheriff's department did over the last week, I don't know if everybody in this room caught wind of that or not, but that was wild. They were hiding one egg a day that had a ticket in it that you could redeem at the sheriff's department for a prize. And they would post one hint on social media as soon as the kids got out of school. So parents were like waiting for this hint to drop, and as soon as it did, everybody descends on wherever the spot was that, you know, the hint alluded to, and there's just kids running around like crazy looking for these things. The one down at Community Field, there's like kids out there in the snow and sleet, looking around, crawling in the mud. It was awesome watching these kids get outside and get fresh air and just, so I wanna give a big shout out to the folks who put the Easter egg hunt at the Ice Palace Park. That was awesome, and then the Sheriff's Department for putting on the other Easter egg hunt. That was really cool to see, and I'd like to explore other ideas for the future of how we could keep something like that going, because it was just a fun thing for the community, so. That's all I have.
Cool. Well, I attended the Intermountain Transportation Regional Meeting, otherwise known as IMTPR, and they wanted us to know that they're gonna resurface Colorado 24 from the Leadville Junction at 91 all the way to the top of Tennessee Pass. Great news for everybody, especially cyclists. Hopefully they can get Tennessee Pass to the county or to the next paved section, which I think is Red Cliff. They also wanted to highlight their internship program through Front Range Community College. And so if anybody has a senior in high school that's looking for a career in road and bridge, they are the Colorado Local Technical Assistance Program, and they assist you guys in trying to find some workers.
Yeah, we actually do a bunch of our classes with them.
Okay.
We actually have 2 coming to Lake County in May, so we're hosting 2 of their classes up there.
Awesome. I thought that was cool. Outreach for and specifically for seniors in high school, they're trying.
But it's basically for anybody, but yeah, they do have a college degree now that you can get through LTAP and Front Range College.
Okay. Very cool. Wanted to highlight that, and that's all I got.
Candace, did you attended some sort of conversation about the repaving, right? Didn't that come up recently? The repaving and trying to manage the flow of traffic? Or am I thinking of something different?
It is not ringing a bell, so.
Okay.
They didn't call it repaving, they call it resurfacing.
Resurfacing.
And they said they're gonna continue in the design phase of the roundabout down on Twin Lakes, so.
Oh, I was talking about the bridge at Red Cliff.
The bridge at Red Cliff.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
I
what I
was
was like,
close.
resurfacing. No, they are doing some work on the bridge at Red Cliff over the summer. I'll actually have like a whole report for you, because I've been jumping on, I asked to be looped into the CDOT calls. So I'd have a heads up before they're gonna, be working on it all summer. So that bridge area will only have 1 lane of traffic, and then at some point, I think they're gonna have to route people under. But I'll try to do an update on that, probably not today, because then I will info friendly, but I'll make sure I circle back.
That's right, I forgot you mentioning that. That is something we should push
That was
out on
close.
all our channels so people
Yeah.
become aware of it before they're stuck in a line of traffic waiting over there. Let people know to leave a little earlier for their jobs and whatnot.
I was trying to let them put CDOT push out something, and then
Okay.
whatever their
Yeah.
communication pieces.
Thank you.
All of our meeting recordings are available, and our work sessions. They're all recorded and available on the Lake County Government YouTube channel. They're transcribed and indexed as well. The recordings can be watched at a time that's best for you. Subscribe and stay informed on county decisions. Public comment is available for residents wishing to speak on an agenda item or another issue that is not on the agenda. To make a public comment, residents may request to speak by raising your hand in person, using the raised hand feature in Zoom, or sending a message in chat. Does anyone in the room have a public, the chair will call on the public in order. Comment is limited to 3 minutes, not including board questions. Action, if required, will be assigned to county staff. The chair may also ask that public comment on specific agenda items be held for later in the meeting. In certain instances, public comment will not be accepted, such as on public hearing items noted on the agenda. I'll start with anybody in the room have a public comment?
Hello, just need to let you guys know that today I closed County Road 4 from Abley parking to Hagerman Pass, because we have that section of road that's falling off. What's gotten worse, it's invaded the safe lane, so I really can't have traffic running on there.
The downhill side.
No, the uphill side.
The uphill
The
side.
It's moved over to that lane some more this last year, this last winter. So I don't feel it's safe to drive vehicles on anymore.
Oh, wow.
I will leave it open, pedestrians or bicycle traffic, because it should be solid for that. Not that much weight compared to a vehicle or a camper trailer going across it. So we're looking at some options, like some grant opportunities coming up that might work towards that.
So it's just the Abley parking area, but you could go all the way around and still access
Yeah,
Hagerman.
you could go around the north
Yeah.
side of the lake and still have
You just
access to
close it.
Hagerman Pass once that's open.
Okay.
But it should close that one section on County Road 4.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
And it's closed until further notice.
Yeah, it's not gonna open for a while until we get something figured out with it.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. We'll move to online. Jane, I think you were first.
Thank you. Jane Harrelson, 172 Rafferty Drive. A taxpayer named Juanita said, "My kids need the pool. My sister and I used to swim while my dad lifted weights upstairs in the gym." So many of you know that from 1975 to 1999, we had the best rec center around. And with the kids and the school district consolidation, moving the students out of that school next fall, we, the taxpayers, have an excellent opportunity to revisit that rec center. So I'd like to thank Candace and Sandra for moving things around and putting PB Swims on the work session next week, so we can discuss and consider the county's responsibility for the aquatic center. Appreciate you all serving. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jane. Mr. Day, you're next.
Sure, good morning.
Morning.
Maybe a little bit premature, but on your agenda today, there's the model traffic code ordinance, the first reading or whatever. I don't know what's in it. I expect there'll be a public hearing on it in the future. But I just wanted to mention that when the OHV ordinance was passed, there were some items that were taken out of that didn't appear in the 24-01 ordinance that were in the 23-01 ordinance that were going to be moved into the model traffic code. And I haven't done my homework to identify which ones those were, but I would just encourage whoever's working on this to have a look and see what what came out of the 23-01 ordinance, and make sure that's in the model traffic code, and might even go so far as to put all of the traffic items for public use that appear in the OHV ordinance and put those in the model traffic code. I expect Sheriff Speckman and Ann might recall which what this issue was about. That there, I think the model traffic code was supposed to be updated around the time the OHV ordinance came into effect a couple of years ago, but that didn't happen. So there has been a lag, but I expect people remember how that was supposed to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Pete.
Anybody else online or in the room for public comments?
Can I just say, Peter, I know we'll talk about it later, but there is a lot of OHV regulation in the traffic code that's been proposed today. So hopefully we can get your input on that.
Okay, great. Will that be published somewhere online? I know it's here in the paper, but will it show up, somewhere on the county website?
It should, I mean, we can certainly get you a copy, Peter. It'll certainly be published, if the board passes the first reading today. It needs to be published prior to the second reading and being adopted. If you could shoot me your email, I could make sure you have a copy. I think I gave you my card, it allows to.
Yeah. Can do.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, well, moving on. And speaking of, the first reading and introduction of Ordinance 2026-2, an ordinance for the regulation of traffic and vehicles by the County of Lake, State of Colorado, adopting by reference the 2024 edition of the Model Traffic Code, with amendments, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, and providing penalties for violation thereof. It doesn't say who this will be led by.
I can go ahead and take the lead on this.
Thank you, Matt.
Since I drafted it, I worked with Sheriff Speckman pretty closely in developing this over the last month or so. The model traffic code basically tracks state statute and allows some of your revenues when traffic citations are issued to come into the county versus going to the state. So that's one major reason why most local governments adopt the model traffic code, which essentially mirrors state law in terms of traffic regulation. Your current code that you're operating under is from 2010, so it's a bit outdated at this point. There's been a couple iterations of MTCs since 2010. Sheriff Speckman, I think, is anxious to get this in place because there's been, obviously these laws are always changing and evolving, and I'm hopeful. It sounds like they're wanting this new code, and hopefully there'll be some more traffic enforcement once this new code's adopted and his deputies have some better guidance on sort of the laws and citations. In terms of your all's discussion today, where it would be helpful to have input, the model traffic code itself is, like I said, it's basically a mirror image of state law. So there's not a lot of discussion around there, but there are things we added into the traffic regulations that are specific to Lake County, which all is mainly in section 4 of the ordinance that is presented to you all today. The state highway restrictions regarding Independence Pass, this essentially mirrors state law, but I carried this provision over from your last ordinance and enacting the model traffic code in 2018. I added a bunch in here about road restrictions and giving, the public works director essentially authority to close roads and do other things effective around roads, which Sheriff Speckman was really appreciative of because that takes a load off his department. And it's really what you guys are doing anyway. So to have that codified is, I think, really helpful for everybody. If cars need to be towed because they're blocking a snowplow or what have you, this ordinance gives, Michael the authority, whoever the public works director, the authority to tow that without involving the sheriff. I don't know how it's happened in the past, but at least it's clear now in terms of, that delegation authority. So that's in there regarding county road restrictions, winter road closures, which is a big issue that we've talked about numerous times. Again, giving public works director the ability to close those roads. Snow removal, special events, temporary road closures around special events. All that stuff that's functionally probably been happening anyway, just clear that, the public works director has the authority to do all that stuff. And that's in the final, section 7, there's the enforcement authority, which sheriff and the sheriff's deputies can enforce all provisions of the ordinance. And then what counties are allowed to do is delegate authority of enforcement of ordinances to certain people in this department outside of law enforcement. So Ann and I, for example, have talked about this on some land use stuff, so that may just kind of preluding something maybe in the future. But so for the public works, this ordinance, it says the public works director is designated as the authorized enforcement personnel for the limited purpose of enforcing provisions of this ordinance related to parking, towing, and road management. And then, you know, probably the larger issue, like I said, where it'd be helpful to have some more discussion is we added some things that I think mirrored a lot of what is in Ordinance 2301 regarding OHV regulations, but also sort of tried to clarify some issues that I've heard, you know, expressed from you all in terms of concern around sort of the regulation. I think probably the larger one was this is in, you know, F number 3, the sort of the purpose limitation. You know, tried to clarify that, yeah, you can use county roads to travel to recreational areas, but you know, the intent of my understanding of the intent of the law originally wasn't to allow people to just travel on county roads, you know, for recreational purposes. It's like you needed to go from, you know, your house to wherever out in the forest, fine, but yeah, not to go grocery shopping and things like that with OHV. So if that's not what was intended, or that's what's in here now, is it prohibits that. So that's a discussion for you all. You know, the operational requirements, I think kind of a lot of this carries over from state law in terms of what's required and what's prohibited. We put some parking, staging, you know, language in there that the trailers shall not obstruct traffic or create a safety hazard. Again, this ordinance gives, you know, Public Works, Michael, the authority to enforce that piece of it. And then it sets up some separate violations regarding to OHV use. Under state law, the board has the ability to levy fines up to $1,000 for violations of its ordinances. So this is sort of a tiered fraction system for these violations of the OHV. First offense 100, second offense 1,000, and you know, third and subsequent offenses not less than 1,000, probably at the discretion of the judge at that point. The violations and the penalties regarding the other traffic stuff, it's all spelled out in the state code, so that's why that's not specifically in here, and the only one we're dealing with specifically is the OHV fines. You know, then there's some parking regulations in here. You know, no person shall park a vehicle within 5 feet of a driveway, within 10 feet of a fire hydrant, on sidewalks or pedestrian areas, in any location where signage prohibits parking. These are kind of standard language that I looked at a lot of other jurisdictions or ordinances adopting MTCs and pulled in a lot of that language here. Again, if it's, you know, leave it to you all to sort of give direction on that or ask further questions. There's section 6 deals with towing and impoundment. I think that one's pretty standard as well. Whenever a person obstructs traffic, creates a safety hazard, violates an ordinance, or you have an abandoned vehicle, which is defined as 48 hours, I think, earlier in the ordinance, an abandoned vehicle. That, again, Michael would have the authority under this ordinance to deal with those and tow them and impound those vehicles that violate this ordinance. that's a lot, so I'll pause and see if you guys have any questions.
It's chomping at the bit.
It's okay, I have mine written down, you can go.
You know, with the OHV stuff, it's been on the books basically for a long time, this similar language about like, hey, if you're going to the dirt roads, the Jeep roads, or a trail, you're good. But I feel like especially with the advent of the UTVs, they've just become a joyride device. And I mean, walking in today, there's a four-wheeler in the parking lot with a big flashing light on the front of it, because I think the guy forgot to turn the LED light off and his battery's dying. But is this gonna change anything with that? Like, there's, the enforcement aspect is still pretty much the same. Does this just give us, if it being codified, is that gonna allow the sheriff's department to be like, hey, you guys can't be doing donuts in the parking lot while kids are playing soccer, you know, like, how does this change in real world anything for like the community and the people who are?
Yeah, and I see Sheriff Speckman is online, and I think he can probably better address sort of the enforcement aspect than I can. My hope in drafting this was to make it a little clearer. So I think the other prior ordinance was a little vague in terms of how this was done, and you know, to the extent people see gaps here, we can address it, you know, prior to the second reading and adoption. But you know, I'll let Sheriff Speckman speak more on the enforcement piece.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, this ordinance does give us some clarity and the enforcement actions necessary. So we can start enforcing the OHV issue. I think we've discussed in the past too that, you know, we'll of course continue to have issues if people are running from us when we're trying to contact them. It's going to be a continued issue as long as we allow OHV use on our county roads. But this gives me a little more confidence than our last attempt. It updates things. So not a solid yes for you, Andy, but it does help.
Okay, cool, thanks. Section 5 seems like a lot of good stuff in there, but I didn't really see anything that addresses one issue that, you know, we know how tough parking is along the main corridor. Is there anything we can add to that that will make it clear that you probably should be like living in your Sprinter van during like major events on Harrison Avenue or like on 6th Street? Like, it's, I don't know, is that allowed? Is that like normal in most?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly designate roads and list them in your ordinance to make it clear that it's, you know, prohibited camping, you know, overnight camping is prohibited on, you know, these streets. I mean, we don't have jurisdiction obviously in the city, but you know, to the extent Harrison, 6th are outside the city, yeah.
It just feels like there's this sense of entitlement here that I don't see in other towns, where like if someone has spent 6 figures on their van, they're like, well, I'm just gonna park and stay in my van overnight, right, where everybody else needs to park and go to work here because they're not gonna do anything about it. You know, and it's probably not this glaring problem, but I see it occasionally, and it kind of drives me nuts about like, you know, where most people in the community are trying to get by their day-to-day business, and parking is an issue, and then you see the same decked out vehicle just there every single day, night in, night out, and you're like, dude, they're like living in their van right there, like enjoying, you know, great, come here, enjoy the recreation, beat the heat of the Front Range, but, you know, maybe park behind the Tabor Opera House or something, you know, like not like, you know, where everybody else needs to park and go to work. So I don't know how we'd address that or how we'd write that in, but it doesn't seem like it happens really in like other communities, you know, they kind of patrol and enforce some parking regulations about, like, you can't leave your car here for 3 days straight, you know, so I don't know what that looks like, but I don't know if you guys agree it's something that.
I mean, there was that Sprinter, I remember in that Sprinter van out front, is that what you're talking about?
Well, that's
Where that
one
guy
of
was
them, that's
living
one
in
of the ones that I've seen, and then it feels like during peak summer, there's probably 4 or 5 of them that, you know, seem to frequent, where everybody else needs to, you know, and businesses can't need revolving parking spaces to keep, you know, dinner tables seated and things like, you know, it feels weird that there's something I don't see in any other community, mountain vacation type community, but we see it here a lot more than anywhere else, so I don't know what that would look like if we make, you know, a main corridors, stay off that at least, you know, or I don't know, city limits, I don't know how that even would look, I guess it would take some more conversation, but if we could have something that would at least put it in writing that, you know, just posting up in your vehicle and camping out for, you know, a week at a time probably isn't ideal in most areas where there's high traffic.
Yeah, and I don't know, it sounds like most of the issues you're seeing are within the city.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So maybe we should put that on the city, I guess.
I mean,
Ask
we
them.
can't, yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
their jurisdiction
Yeah.
to control that issue in the city limits.
That's a good point, okay.
We could certainly bring it up with the race series and ask them to ask, more than likely it's racers, my guess. Cause it's always around the race season, that's just a guess, I don't know. We could bring it up with her and ask her to get the word out, but, if you're camped in in front of somebody's house, I mean, that's not good. I don't know, I guess it doesn't bug me that much, but now that you've brought it up, I'll probably notice it more.
It's a big conversation in Salida as well.
Yeah,
People park there, you know, and then they go down and surf on the wave and they're changing, you know, and on the street, yeah.
shower on the sidewalk, you know?
But yeah, they do allow it there.
Yeah.
But it's a topic of conversation.
Okay, well, maybe it could be something, it doesn't, it might even have a place to sit, that's just a separate resolution instead of this, or we just take it to the city and see what they think. That's probably the better option.
I know they have a parking task force, don't they? They've got like a group that talks about parking quite often, so maybe it's something that you could ask to be part of.
Yeah.
I bet they'd be down with that.
Yeah. The last part of this, in the spirit of spring cleaning, is there any room in this to add some more teeth to littering fines?
I looked at that and thought about that, Commissioner, and I think that really needs to be addressed in a separate ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I get it's related to traffic on probably a lot of times, but there's a lot of times people litter that aren't nothing to do with traffic.
It's hard to find a,
Yeah, so I think to the extent you wanna address littering, we should do that with a separate ordinance and not mix it up in the model traffic code.
oh, fair enough,
I believe there's already an ordinance for that,
okay,
for illegal dumping and littering, $1,000 fine. But to get the courts to enforce it was really difficult.
that's something I'd like to dive into, why, cause I don't think I've heard word of mouth of anyone I know in this community in 27 years I've lived here, of anyone getting actually fined for dumping or littering.
There was one person because I turned them in.
One person, alright, we got
I
one,
know for sure. Because I
okay,
didn't, because basically the ordinance says that the fine will be split in half. The sheriff's office would get half of the $1,000 fine for enforcement, and whoever turned them in got the other part for turning them in.
It's like a finder's
And I had to donate mine to the landfill because I'm an employee of the county, which I did, which is
yeah,
not a problem, but
I didn't realize that.
Wow.
the parents made
Love
the
that.
kid pay the fine because I guess he had a party at his parents' house
mhm,
and was trying to get rid of the evidence.
I remember, yeah, okay, that's
So I put it
right,
out into the field and we were able to track down who it was.
I think we're at a point where, you know, it just feels like that we're harboring a culture of it's okay to just throw something out the window. And it's, you look at where we live and it drives me nuts that people think that's okay, you know, just trashing up the sides of the roads, and it would be nice to see, you know, if not just major dumping, if it's like, if you're throwing something out your window and you're somehow held accountable or caught or documented doing that, or some, you know, then there should be, it would be really nice to see some kind of penalty for that, that is enforceable and isn't something that the sheriff's department feels they have no teeth with or anything like that.
Sheriff Speckman, do you have something to contribute to this topic?
Yeah, we can address the littering charge through the CRS. It's a Title 18 code that we have the ability to summon somebody to court through. So it wouldn't be very fitting for the model traffic code. But we do have teeth on that one.
Okay. Well, I'm sure everyone's seen the bumper sticker that says "Keep Leadville Trashy."
That's not what it says.
What does it say?
Gritty.
Don't make me say it, you say it.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, it says keep Leadville shitty.
Oh.
You got me. That's what it says.
Gosh, I was in the twilight zone. I wonder if that's part of it. Maybe we need a bumper sticker that says "Keep Leadville clean." I don't know. Is there any way we could use, I guess we don't have a jail anymore, but, you know,
Use our
Well, it
jail?
is down there.
like a crew, some kind of crew that
Well,
works the ditches.
one of the
Wow,
judges
I love
didn't,
this.
one of the judges thought that that was an exorbitant amount of, to fine somebody for littering or trash. And it's like, so I offered to have them work at the landfill
Yeah, to pay it off,
to pay it off.
yeah,
Or, you know, do community service enough out there to understand
yeah.
what throwing their trash in the forest does. You know, they can go help clean that up too,
Yeah.
but, you know, and what goes on at the landfill.
Yeah.
Well, there have been studies to show that there's correlation between people with positive outdoor nature experiences taking better care of the environment. So also projects like Goal would be changing an actual culture where you're spending time out in nature, you're going to wanna take better care of it because you're actually out there. So I agree that like there are a lot of different levers to pull, but I think that it's yes, enforcement, yes, penalties, but also creating a relationship to the outdoors that makes you actually care about it and not wanna trash it. So I think that I think there are a lot of ways that the county is trying to work on this, and I wouldn't wanna just focus on one. But I'm down with doing a separate ordinance, Sandy, if you wanna
What
lean into
about
this more.
signage? What would it take to get some signs up at the exits and entrances of town that says, remember the signs used to say littering is $1,000 fine? I mean,
There used to be some around, but
Yeah, I've seen them.
we could do that.
that's, I think a lot of people either don't know or, I mean, that's substantial, and I didn't know you get half of it.
Yeah, whoever turns the
Now
money
we're
gets out of it. The sheriff basically gets it for whatever they want, for training or whatever.
I mean, it must be hard to prove.
Well, I mean,
Right?
everybody's got a phone these days. You're driving behind someone. I would imagine everyone in this room has been driving behind someone that they've watched throw something out the window, you know, and
I've never seen it.
if it's,
haven't
if it, what, are you serious?
Never
Yeah.
seen it.
Wow.
I've seen things accidentally blow out of the back of trucks.
I mean, it also boggles my mind
You're talking
about
about?
thinking that styrofoam cups or whatever are just gonna magically stay in the back of your truck when you're going 70 down the road, but, I've watched, wow, okay,
Really?
yeah.
You
I've seen people throw multiple things out the window.
$500 per.
Well, I didn't know.
And to get a
Got my
dash
phone
cam.
out and started, you know, which I guess is, I would've told my passenger to get their phone out and record, not me while I'm driving,
That's right. I
but,
mean, that sounds profitable, frankly, instead of,
Sounds like a part-time job.
okay, I have a couple questions, Matt. My first one is the 48-hour, like abandoned vehicle. 48 hours feels really small to me, especially when we have big, I know it didn't happen this year, but when we have big snowstorms, like clearing around your vehicle and actually moving it. Is that really standard, 48 hours in these mountain communities? And then Michael, does that seem like something you would actually enforce, is a 48-hour
There's
abandonment?
some cars that don't move forever.
Right, yeah,
I think it's 48 hours, and usually what happens is they get a tag
okay,
saying your car has been here for 48 hours,
Okay.
move it within the next whatever, otherwise it's getting towed, you know, those little red tags you see.
oh, yeah.
So I think, and I initially had it drafted at 72, when talking with Sheriff Speckman, he thought 72 was too long to put the tag,
Okay,
which starts the time for actual.
what is the difference between the tag, like what is the notice? if it's 48 hours to get the tag, what does the tag say then?
The tag says then you move your car or it's gonna get towed. I mean, unless it's an emergency and then it just gets towed right away, but maybe sheriff can chime in on this one.
Yeah, and that's, in mountain communities, I don't have a good answer for you, but what are other local authorities especially with the state patrol, they use the 48-hour notice also. And it is almost every single time we've been given notice of a vehicle has been at a certain location for multiple days, it needs to be moved. And then we put the tag on there, which starts the 48-hour clock once we place the tag on there. And that time is recorded, then we give them an additional 2 days. And oftentimes we don't want to tow it. So if it's in front of somebody's house, we have the ability to go knock on the door, give them a heads up. It's easy for us if the owner moves the vehicle. So it really is a last resort.
Okay, yeah, I'm just thinking about times where I've been like extremely sick or just given birth and like I have not left the house for longer than that. So just trying to think about the impacts of how
And it's
difficult that would be in some of these situations, especially as a single parent. Okay, but you try to make contact with the people when you can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the easiest solution.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, usually when we sign the street, for the next day plowing,
Sure.
in the past, deputies have gone out at nighttime, to make sure that people are home and they know that it's gonna be open or gonna be closed for tomorrow.
Yeah.
All vehicles need to be off the road.
Yeah.
And then there's some that, people haven't been even to the house in months.
Totally, yeah.
That are parked on the street, so.
Yeah, that's different. Okay. And then my other question is around section, oh please. Section 4, all our little additions, our local additions. F3. It's the proposed limitation, unlawful acts. Around OHVs specifically, and man, I think I'm just not reading this with a turned on brain. The way that I read this, it's like you can only move on county roads if you're going from one place to another to go to trails, etc. But we don't actually have any off-highway vehicle trails. So
Let's just read it together.
Okay.
Operation of motorized off-highway vehicles on county roads or other county-owned property is strictly limited to travel reasonably necessary to access, I don't know why it says, off-highway routes, trail systems, or areas where OHV use is otherwise lawfully permitted.
Yeah, so just pause there.
Okay.
So we don't have any like trail systems or off-highway routes that aren't county roads that are permitted, so how does this reads antithetical to our off-highway OHV permit?
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with this section quite a bit, to be honest, so, to the extent we can kinda wordsmith a little, as long as the sort of the intent, I think everybody's on board with, to make it clear, but, yeah, I spent quite a bit of time with how to wordsmith this, and, maybe it's not quite there yet, but I think you have a fair point there.
Okay, because my understanding of our current OHV permitting is that it's all on county roads. We're not permitting them to use anything but a county road on the east side.
For commercial,
Right.
yeah.
And they're not going from one place they're not going to a place that is not a county road. So they're only on county roads for commercial use. So how do we write it in a way that's?
Well, I think your existing ordinance is 2301 designates certain roads, right, to be used for OHV use.
So unless other one,
So that would be sort of the authorized OHV system, but see Heath has got his hand up too.
Go ahead,
He's
Heath.
got some insight on how to better phrase this.
Yeah, we don't have a trail system on any sort of county property. But we do have Forest Service roads, which we can use our county roads from 4 to get to Forest Service roads. So I think that's what it's referencing.
Okay, say you're going to Hagerman Pass,
Yeah,
right? Or, you know,
yeah.
we know, basically, if you're going to dirt and going to recreate with your machine in a responsible way, somewhere where it fits, cool. Like, if you're doing laps around town, that's where you know, we know the intent. I just don't think, we don't have anything legit as a county to fit this, but maybe we will someday.
yeah,
Which would be cool.
so, okay, I'm gonna read it again. Operation of motorized off-highway vehicles on county roads or other county-owned property is strictly limited to travel reasonably necessary to access off-highway routes, trail systems, or areas where OHV use is otherwise lawfully permitted. So that would be saying it's lawfully permitted on county roads on the east side under which laws that are not commercial permits? Like the everyday person going up there, they're not traveling to another place, they're just using county roads that are otherwise lawfully permitted, right? That's how it would be like, yeah, it's okay to go drive up there.
Yeah.
What law permits those roads to everyday people?
Ordinance 2301.
Okay, cool. So that makes it okay. But then
And
if
we can
you're,
make that clearer too. I think there's room for more clarity
Okay.
for sure.
but like what Andy was talking about, going and doing donuts over at Community Field, you're not reasonably traveling from one area to another where it is lawfully permitted. Is it lawfully permitted to be under
Yeah.
2301?
And then I think you gotta read the whole section, that's why it's
Okay.
quite a bit longer. It says, so after that first sentence, it states, use of county roads by OHVs for any purpose other than such access is prohibited. Prohibited uses include, without limitation, travel to or from parks, schools, residences, retail or commercial establishments, post office, disposal sites, including a dump, or any other destination unrelated to lawful off-highway use, as well as general circulation within the county, or use as a substitute for primary transportation. So I mean, that's a lot there, but it's just tries to put a little more clarity about what's allowed and what isn't allowed.
Yeah, okay, so I'm so sorry, but my logical brain is getting stuck. Can you do donuts anywhere?
No.
Yeah? No, Heath says no.
Well, on private land, you know, like the ATV or the motocross track, for example, where they authorize that type of riding. But there are, you know, even on private land, there's still some traffic laws that we can enforce. And so, especially on public lands, if there's any sort of reckless driving, then that would be the appropriate charge for doing donuts at the community field. Where our ordinance doesn't necessarily need to address that action, where we have state law where we can enforce those actions.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you. So we're saying you can do it anywhere where it's allowed, and our other ordinance says where it's allowed, which is on all county roads. Right? Okay, then it's the third sentence, the prohibited uses also, that I personally don't want. Traveling, the use of an OHV
You at the bottom
for
of 3
general
or
circulation.
number
We're still in 3.
5? Okay.
We're still in 3. It says prohibited uses include, without limitation, travel to or from parks, schools, residences, retail or commercial establishments, post offices, just it says all the things that you can't do, as well as general circulation within the county or use as a substitute for primary transportation. That's not important to me, and I don't think I would. I'm okay with people using OHVs as to travel around, because that's what they're doing anyway. So to go to the post office, to me, is not a difference than going up on the east side. And I also think that these things are cheaper to buy than a vehicle. So I can also see why somebody would have more access to an OHV than a reliable vehicle to go get groceries, etc. Regardless, it just seems like pretty arbitrary to me, and so I would be interested in striking some of those uses, if not all. Do you guys wanna talk about that?
Yeah. Well, structurally, I feel like part of number 3 could be in number 5. Because that's where we're listing out the prohibited uses, but 3 goes into, that's probably 6 to 1, half dozen the other, I guess it's not a big deal. But the problem, I guess, that, you know, we've seen in the last handful of decades is that where do you draw the line between the people who are, you know, just zipping up to the post office real quick to grab something, or you know, how are you gonna delineate between, are you saying we should basically just like look at their behavior while they are driving around, and if they're being reckless and it's like,
And then that's covered by all
Yeah.
of Heath's traffic, all
Yeah.
of Heath's codes and laws. Whereas to me, I don't think that it matters what kind of vehicle you're in to do your everyday things or to do recreational things. What matters is how you're using that vehicle. And so on this, yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying. Feels arbitrary to make it an OHV prohibition. What is the difference?
They're not registered vehicles. I think it's the main problem.
They don't have license plates or blinkers. Some dirt bikes are street legal because they have blinkers and license plates and headlights. Some of the OHVs have blinkers and license plates, so I guess I'm not clear on
there's
what
some
you're saying.
rural, like, I think I get what you're saying, like, I like the idea of retaining the rural charm and like harkening back to the old days of like, you know, we're still a little bit wild up here, you know, if someone's riding their 4-wheeler on the street to go do something, that's, a lot of rural towns still have that, you know, like, that's not unheard of in Colorado. If we start putting the hammer down on that stuff, where are we drawing the line? And there are people, I mean, from a parking standpoint, it's good for parking if someone can take their little dirt bike to the post office instead of, you know,
Yeah, I guess I'm saying like, why does it matter to us, to this board, whether people are going to get groceries or if they're going to rip around on the east side? What is the difference to us?
because we're already dealing with such a large component of the bad apples that have zero regard for how they're driving around town. And I don't know if opening up the floodgates, like, hey, yeah, you're totally allowed to do this, just encourages more of that when it's already such a challenge to hold people accountable when they aren't behaving. You know, like, these guys can't chase a kid on a 4-wheeler
No,
and go after them, and if we're just like, yeah, you can go wherever you want, it doesn't need to be to a trail. I felt like the way it's been set up, like, you just, if you're going to a trail, cool, if not, it's like the happy medium that sort of strikes a balance between, you know, and I'm sure if like someone pulls up to the post office and is like, hey, I'm just on my way home from the trail, that might come across a little different from an enforcement aspect. I don't know how this really works, but I think what we're trying to do is find some kind of balance in really uncharted waters, and the bad apples unfortunately are out there, and they're all anyone pays attention to. Most people don't really pay attention to the guy who stops at every single stop sign and waits for traffic to go, and you know, the responsible riders aren't the ones that people remember, it's the people, you know, like helmetless kids on clapped out 80s going up and down the street all day, driving people nuts and, you know, like scaring people while they're trying to drive in their vehicle, worried about hitting somebody or, you know, or the ones kicking up a ton of dust while the kids are playing soccer, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think the intention is to find a balance in a really uncharted waters, and I don't know whether a major change would be pretty detrimental to some of the negative aspects increasing or not.
If it's a matter of like, Heath's enforcement, Heath, does this allow you to enforce bad behavior, or, enforce, that's weird. Enforce bad behavior more easily?
No, I would say we already have those tools when it comes to the bad behavior side of things.
So no matter what somebody is driving, like if they're driving an OHV that's not registered, you have all the tools you need to enforce reckless driving?
Yes.
Okay. So then in my mind, this feels like why he has everything he needs to manage the bad actors. This just says we're gonna stop this use, period, whether you're a bad actor or not. And I guess that's where I'm like, I don't feel the need to do that. But if Heath needs more support in his enforcement, I'd love to talk about that.
I would just envision, with my history with OHVs and what I know is that change in the rules from, okay, you can go to the dirt and get back from the dirt. And keep it chill. If it's like, you can run errands, I feel like it opens the floodgates of more people using responsibly and the accompanying bad apples who are not gonna. I feel like it's just gonna increase the volume of good and bad along with it.
Are they already doing that though? Like, isn't that already allowed?
Yeah, it's already happening, you know, we know.
It's not allowed to go to like the grocery store.
Yeah, but it's already happening, you know, so I feel like it's already at a level where we get complaints. And I think all of us have gotten emails from people who are not super stoked on how, you know, UTVs in particular are being operated around town and.
I haven't gotten those emails. I haven't gotten them about like people doing daily tasks with them. I've heard them about
No.
kids ripping up and down.
Reckless riding, right?
Sure, yeah.
And that will, any type of, you know, I feel like going more loose with what we've already got in place, I think is gonna see a rise in both categories. Your average person running an errand and the people who think now it's okay to do wheelies up and down 6th Street. I just, you know.
They're not allowed to, right?
No,
Even if this
absolutely
isn't
not,
in here.
but it's gonna,
Even
you'll
if
see
this
more of
isn't
that.
in here, they're not allowed to do that.
No.
So,
That's, I mean, the state is, I guess, gonna say, you know, you have reckless
right,
riding,
who
it's
does
not,
that?
yeah.
I don't know, I agree with Andy. I think most communities would just ban it entirely. Now that we're growing, we're not the old west anymore, kids are still gonna do it. Are they gonna run up to Safer on their dirt bike? Maybe. Is Heath gonna enforce it? Maybe. I mean, Heath is, you know, not gonna be here forever, so I kinda like that it's gray and it's not totally prohibited, but it's not encouraged or totally legal.
Sorry, this does totally prohibit that.
You're right.
So I'm just wondering,
The gray area is, were you heading to a trail, you have to stop by the gas station, fill up your welder, so that's the question. I mean, it's kind of up to Heath and his department and the police to, it is pretty gray, wouldn't you agree, Sheriff Speckman? And people
Right,
have to go get gas and get a snack on the way to the trail.
Yep. No, that's the confusing part. If we're allowing it, but we're only allowing it for rec reasons, And again, like your example's perfect of they were just stopping to get gas, and then, that's our discretion because, okay, yeah, that makes sense. You stop to get gas and you're going to the Forest Service or going up on the EE side. But technically, you're not supposed to do that. You're only supposed to go directly from your house to. So there's some gray areas with that. If we're going to allow OHV use and we want to limit it, it does make it more complicated for us. I think I would favor, my opinion would be one or the other. We either don't allow OHVs, or if we do, we allow it for uses on county roads with the limitations of proper driving.
Yeah, so I guess the other consequence that I think would be real is there are folks in our community who cannot afford a vehicle. And they have OHVs, and they do use them for getting around town to do basic chores. And this would prohibit them from using that, and we don't have a reliable transportation method in the future. So I think that that's a real consequence of saying you cannot use OHVs for anything but rec.
Or golf carts, I mean, that'd be a nice way to get around town.
That'd be awesome.
So to be clear, what you're saying is you're not a big fan of this gray area. You'd like to see it either allowed or not allowed, period.
Yes,
Is that what I
correct.
heard you say?
Correct.
Well, if I'm looking at simply those two options, I'm for open the floodgates. Hopefully people don't take advantage of it and turn the place into Mad Max crazy land.
Does this open up like kids riding their dirt bikes to school and to practice? I mean, in a way, that's pretty darn cool
That's awesome.
for those kids. I mean,
And if they're not doing it properly, Heath has all of the tools to say you can't do that.
We don't have the capacity to enforce and babysit the entire community like that. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
How we are right now, I feel like we're already kind of at a threshold of where some lawlessness is happening, and these guys just don't have the numbers to keep it in check. And if we open the floodgates, that's why I said Mad Max, because I feel like that's a potential negative repercussion of us trying to do the right thing here.
Yeah.
But not, I feel like it might not be ideal for Heath, but this kind of gray area balance of like, you can only go to dirt and back is sort of the happy medium. I have some concerns, and I want to do everything I can to help the OHV community, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it.
I mean, the risk, there's both the upside you're talking about, Elsa, and then there's the risk that Andy's talking about. And if that happens, then you're potentially in the position of having to ban them outright if you get enough community people that are just outraged that, it's your guys' call. I could see from Heath's perspective, enforcement perspective, it's always better to have clean lines, and this one's hard. But
Like Commissioner Bullock said, a lot of communities have just put the ban hammer down, and it's nothing. So that's my concern, is by trying to help out certain segments of folks, we'd almost be making it worse in the long run.
And also, from a risk perspective, if some unlicensed, uninsured vehicle screams in and hurts some accidents, imagine whatever accident. And they point to this ordinance and say, I didn't have insurance, I didn't have a license. The county said I didn't have to, so.
Well, the state says you do. If you're gonna operate on any roadway within the state, you need to be basically set up like a legal driver. You should have insurance, you should have a driver's license. At the very least, your OHV needs to be registered with the state. But you need to be an insured licensed driver, I think, to operate on any roadway in the state. And I don't think that would change on county roads technically. Even off-road stuff, I'm pretty sure the Forest Service has like age limits. So when we're talking about kids going to school on dirt bikes, I don't think that would be legal per the state. But, you know, again, I think we're in just such tricky uncharted water with this that what might sound good right now could have some far-reaching unintended consequences.
I mean, Sheriff Speckman and I also talked about sort of local registration system, which is what some localities do, which would mitigate, I mean, that concern is making sure people that are on using the roads do have insurance, you know, are registered with the state, do have spark arresters and all that other equipment you're supposed to have under state law. And I think, yeah, some localities do that, and we just felt it was too much to even try to approach that in this ordinance, yeah.
That was exactly what I wanted to build to, was I wanna keep it.
Yeah.
But if there's a way that we can help mitigate risk by not prohibiting use,
Yeah.
which to me is a registration process. That's what I want to get to, but I was trying to
Generate
build
revenue
to
for
it.
our OHV trail system, that
Yes,
I'd love to see.
even if those people aren't using our trails, we could be generating. But that's too much, Heath. How far are we from being able to do something like that?
We started talking about it at the office. A lot of the feedback I was getting was kind of feel like capacity administratively right now to create a program and maintain that program. So I think it's not out of question, but for us, we would have to find greater capacity to be able to develop and manage a registration program.
Is that something that ever goes to the clerk and recorder's office?
That was just an examination of our office. If there's another office or department that's willing to pick that up, then yeah, I think it's still a really good idea.
I mean, since they're already handling vehicle registrations, it seems like they would be a great partner to try to help make something like that possible for our community. Maybe we could all have a work session about trying to do that. But what are the
Get
potentials?
somebody from the state in to see how that would mesh with state OHV reg, spark arresters and stuff.
Typically, the registration on an OHV is given out by the state, Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
Mhm.
The only thing that the DMV here, Clerks and Recorder's Office does for OHVs is title. So that's all that we do for them.
And OHV titles didn't start till 2015. Anything older than that doesn't need a title renewal. 2015 and newer does.
What are there other clerk and recorders who do manage the local?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, okay, but is it possible? Yeah, it'd be cool.
Is there a deadline for adopting this ordinance, or can we?
We can adopt this as it is, and then
Yeah.
if we wanna make changes to the OHV ordinance, that would maybe some of this other stuff would live under.
Yeah, there's no deadline, it needs to be scheduled for a second hearing.
Yeah.
I mean, my sense from the sheriff is he'd like to get an updated model traffic code in before at least the summer
Yeah.
tourist season.
We don't have a meeting in 2 weeks, so, I don't know. I just think this issue needs to be thought about a little more carefully, so we don't. Nelson brings up a big point. I could go either way, but if I lived in town, I'd love to have a little golf cart to go to Safeway. I don't think you can license a golf cart for the roads. It doesn't have blinkers or headlights, but I don't know. Elsa makes a good point.
So does Andy. I think this is, with the whole, I wanna pass the model traffic code. And I think this is my only big sticking point, is how it will change the culture and how it will have impacts. And it would be awesome if we could have a registration system open and to be able to everybody comfortably say, like, yeah, we don't need to prohibit use because we're managing use in another way. So if we have to pass it with this, cause we're not ready, I don't know, I guess I'm
Can we amend it
open
later?
to it, I
We
just
could-
don't wanna.
We could certainly pull that OH piece out, I don't know what Sheriff Speckman's thoughts are on that, but you know, to the extent you're not ready for that piece of it, we could pull that out and sort of tee that up in a separate discussion.
Okay.
Well, we're not making a decision today. This is the first reading.
Well, if you all want
Right.
this pulled out, we would pull it out and then publish, tee it up for the second reading without this
We are
HB
adjusting.
section, yeah.
The language in this doesn't change anything as it's existed already. It just,
It was meant to clarify.
with the OHVs, yeah. It's already kind of been the MO, and I don't know how to say it. Yeah, I like the gray area in there because it kind of gives, it's not ideal for Eve, but it does give them some discretion as to, we see stuff that is technically against the rules that have already been happened, at least I do personally with my own two eyes,
Me too.
happening enough to allow some folks who might really need to get to the post office the ability to do so. Once we start unpacking that can of worms, things might change, and for right now, I feel like I'm okay with this as it is. It basically just mirrors and clarifies what we already have in place, and then if we were to wanna maybe amend this down the road to allow for a permitting process, to maybe look at a safer way to enhance people's ability to run an errand or use a golf cart or something. It's a lot, and I don't know how we do it within this, without really delaying this by a long time.
Well, it's up to us right now if we're gonna keep it in for second reading, or if we're gonna take it out for second reading. Like, that's the decision point we're at right now.
I personally am of a mind of leaving this as it is because it's basically a continuation of where we've been for a while, and I'm pretty good with where we're at the moment. Not that there doesn't need to be changes, but I'm hesitant to subtract or add anything major because of unintended consequences that we could see, that I would hate to see damage the OHV community further, because they're already fighting a losing battle.
What we can do is take out the sentence that says prohibited uses include, because that's explicit. This is making explicit what you cannot do. But what we leave in is travel on county roads must be direct and reasonably necessary for access to lawful off-highway use. That leaves discretion and grayness in. So what has been added is the explicit prohibited uses. And that does change what he has to enforce. Whereas if we just take that part out, there's still Heath's ability to,
Yeah, I see, okay, I get that.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
to make a reasonable determination whether it's a reasonable use or travel for now, which I know he wants some cleaner lines. But that would buy us a little bit of time while still allowing him to enforce this. Keith, do you think I'm representing?
What section are you referencing? Sorry, I was looking for it.
It's
F3.
F3. I think it's the third sentence in F3.
Section 4, section F3.
Page 5.
Elsa, you don't have to repeat all that, but could you summarize what you're talking about in some paragraph that you want removed?
It's one sentence it starts with prohibited uses include and ends with as well as general circulation within the county or use as a substitute for primary transportation. I said if we take that sentence out, the next sentence, travel on county roads must be direct and reasonably necessary for access to lawful off-highway use, still allows you enforcement, so you can make the determination as to whether it is reasonably necessary. But it does take out some of those explicit prohibitions to bide us some time.
Well, I think my general feeling is gonna be that, I think realizing that by allowing OHV use, in our county is probably more complicated and takes more attention. And we're trying to get away with some easy answers here. I wouldn't be opposed. The original idea was to try to get this as part of the model traffic code. So I wouldn't be opposed to removing this section until we develop those details, especially if we feel like a registration program is pretty essential to the safe operation of OHVs in our county. That we don't delay the model traffic code by trying to solve our OHV use now. So I think we can pick at it a little bit, make it a little better, but I think it really needs a lot more attention.
I agree.
Yeah, totally. That's what I'm kind of trying to buy some time with, is to get this approved, try to have as much of the OHV in here as possible.
Yeah.
But to buy us some time to try to maybe set up a registration program. Because we are allowing OHV use.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my suggestion, if you're all on board with it, since it really was intended to supplement and clarify, ordinance 23 and 2401, that we just pull subsection F entirely, which is related to OHV, and, table that for a separate, further discussion.
And then we would do an amendment to the traffic code.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'd like to talk, I feel rushed too about taking that out without really weighing, the unforeseen consequences and all that.
Yeah.
So, and really talking to Heath about it, cause ultimately we, I guess safety? I don't know,
There's
a lot
that's
of
one
safety,
aspect, yeah, there's a whole lot of them. And,
unintended consequences.
yeah,
But I really like what you're saying, it's a great community when kids can take their dirt bike up to the grocery store and get a pack of smokes for mom.
Matt, same freaking page.
That filter's got a little hole in it today, so.
I mean, Alana's in the room, dude,
Public Health Week.
Yeah.
Health
But that will
Okay.
segue nicely.
Great, I don't have any other questions or comments about the model traffic code.
Nor do I,
So we've agreed we're going to pull that whole section
well, the next reading will have
for further,
subtract section F.
Mm-hmm.
for further discussion, a work session, maybe some community partners, people who.
Yeah, people participate, tell us what they think.
Yeah. Is that okay, Matt?
It's perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna apologize to everyone in the room, because when OHV stuff does come up, we dive pretty deep into it, and it's a multifaceted and pretty complicated subject for this community. So,
It's like an important part of our culture, I feel
Yeah.
like, and it's worth us giving the time, so,
absolutely,
yeah, I'm glad we do.
we just need more trails.
And more windows in this room.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Let's
Alright,
move on to item number 2, the first
So
reading.
you gotta make
Excuse
a
me.
motion.
Okay.
Oh, we do.
To pass the first reading, and then with the amendment that we're
Okay,
moving.
thank you.
I'll do it, Andy, I'll do it.
okay,
Okay, I move to pass first reading,
Just read the ordinance and
and then I move to approve, or what is the motion?
yeah, we're not approving yet.
Move to approve first reading.
Move to approve first reading.
Okay. I move to approve first reading of the Lake County, Colorado Board of County Commissioners Ordinance number 2026-02, an ordinance for the regulation of traffic and vehicles by the County of Lake, State of Colorado, adopting by reference the 2024 edition of the Model Traffic Code with amendments, repealing all ordinances in conflict therewith, and providing penalties for violation thereof.
I will second that extremely long motion
As amended.
as amended, removing section F
As amended, apologies, I did not.
To a vote?
with the removal of the.
Aye.
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 Alright, at this rate, we will be done tomorrow morning.
No, we'll go quicker the other ones. The other ones will be quicker.
Item number 2, first reading and introduction of ordinance 2026-3. This is an ordinance concerning fire restrictions, open burning, fireworks, and fire ban stages in unincorporated areas of Lake County, Colorado.
I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one too, since drafted it again with Sheriff Speckman's help. Just trying to pull it up here so I can make sure we're all looking at the same thing. So I put a couple versions in your inbox. I had put one, or not your inbox, but your meeting packet for today. I put one in there Friday, and then Sheriff and I had some further conversations, and I redlined changes. So let's look at the red line.
Is that 260405? Not 260330?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay. Cool, thank you.
Oh, gosh.
So currently, my understanding from what I could find anyway, there's no ordinances or resolutions dealing with fire bans in Lake County. And talking with the sheriff, that's created a little bit of an enforcement issue for his department in terms of, enacting fire bans, but then having no legal ability to really enforce them. So this ordinance, again, is pulled from various counties. We pulled pretty heavily from Boulder and Chaffee County. And it basically sets up a few things. One, it gives both the BOCC and the sheriff to declare a fire ban. So under my read of the state ordinance, which is CRS 3115-401, subsection 1N.5, the board has the ability to declare or modify fire bans in Lake County. What this ordinance does, it also gives the sheriff the ability to make those determinations, which is functionally, I think, what has been happening anyway. And then once that determination is made, it needs to come back to the board to ratify that decision, to really make sure you're tracking this state statute properly, that it's really the board that has the authority to declare this. It's not clear, whether that authority can be outright delegated. Chaffee is delegated entirely to the sheriff. Most counties haven't done that. Most counties, it's either the board or it's some hybrid model, which is what Boulder has done. It's sort of allowing the sheriff, but then allows it to come back to the board for, either ratification. So any fire ban, according to state law, needs to be based upon competent evidence, and there's all kinds of language in here about what that means. And it also allows fire bans, it was meant to sort of mesh our fire bans with what is happening at the federal level too, and the federal partners. So in terms of these stage 1 restrictions, stage 2 restrictions, that a lot of this language really mirrors what the federal folks do with their fire bans. the stage 2 restrictions are obviously the highest level. It also allows no burn days to be declared when, they're having a high wind day. So not an outright fire ban, but just hey, today we're not gonna have a burn. And, so I think you probably wanna talk about, the violations and the penalties, again, up to $1,000. The way this is structured is, $250 first, $500 the second, and $1,000 for the third. I myself have a question whether that's, sufficient, but that's for all you all to decide. Some counties in their stage fire bans, I didn't put this in here, just recognizing where we are, also prohibit, discharging firearms.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not in here. But again, so just wanted to flag that issue for you all in terms of the discussion. I think that tees it up. Maybe Sheriff has something to add a little bit, but I think that tees it up from my perspective.
Thank you, Matt. Heath, would you like to join in?
Yes, definitely. I appreciate all the work Matt and Cammie did on this one. I know they did a lot of research into other counties, and so I'm really grateful for that to really put together a first good product here. Yeah, I don't really have much else to add. I think it is worth considering the firearms aspect. I think I want to say Summit County might have that in theirs, if that's worth exploring, to see what theirs looks like. I did have a question on the timeline component. I don't recall reading in there if there's a timeline to ratify if I put in a fire ban on how long it takes for the BOCC to look at that.
We could ratify that remotely, can't we? Like just
Yeah,
24
I think you
hours
can do a
notice
special
special.
meeting. I'm trying to
Yeah.
see what's in here. It just says it's so promptly schedule a business meeting to ratify, so there's really no timeline.
Okay. But I think this is very necessary, especially from the enforcement standpoint. This is something that we, surprisingly haven't had in place. So better late than never. I'm glad we're addressing it now, but this is hugely important for us to be able to enforce these fire bans. I do appreciate the language in there that, makes it important that we do make decisions based off of the information that we have, the intelligence that we have on the matter, that we're in alignment with our federal partners. I think those are all important because we have so much federal land in our county. And then one other project that I wanted to bring up that we'd be working on also along with this is getting MOUs with our federal partners is one of the projects that we want to work on. So if we can, help enforce their fire bans on their lands that are in alignment with ours, I think that would really help our entire county quite a bit. So.
Heck yeah. Do we not have those, we don't have any of those MOUs in place right now?
Not specific to fire bans, no.
Okay. But do we have that in place for like law enforcement with CPW, I'm assuming?
Not CPW. In the past, we've had an MOU with Forest Service to patrol their land for like overtime stuff. So it's not specific to fires, just to make a presence on federal lands. So that's something that we've had in place in the past.
Okay.
How does that work on BLM land? Is that a similar situation with the Forest Service?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, we need an MOU with them also.
In the marked up version, Matt, under the open fire bans, where all the markup is, why is that section taken out about the whenever a danger of forest and grass fires is found to be high, blah, blah, blah? Is it the biggest section that's stricken? Why did that get taken out?
So you're looking at section 3A?
Kind of, yeah, 3.
I think it says the same thing. I think it just clarifies sort of the role of each board. So 3A sort of is just a general declaration of an open fire ban. And then the mechanism of how those fire bans happen is in section B.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the stage 1, stage 2, no burn days. Yeah, so it was just sort of cleaning up different way of saying the same thing, essentially.
Cool. Is there a cap on how much we can charge for?
$1,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's just general. I know that this has been talked a lot about for years in Colorado, but like when somebody actually creates a forest fire and the cost is massive, do we have any ability to penalize higher for like larger
Well, there's,
consequences?
under state law, there's recovery mechanisms under state statutes, and there's also, I think there's section 5 in here, duty to pay fire response costs, so, yeah, it speaks to
So that
that
doesn't have a
issue. Exactly, when
Yeah.
a person actually causes a fire, that they're gonna be responsible for the cost, but that's already built into state law as well.
Okay, it's under section 5, the duty to pay fire response cost. It says this section, question mark, is intended to supplement other penalties.
Yeah, I need to clean that typo up, so that's section 5, but yeah, I was
Okay.
drafting when I hadn't settled on the section numbers yet, so,
Okay.
yeah, thanks for cleaning that up.
No, I'm sorry I pointed that out. That's a tiny little thing. I just didn't know if that was like, is there another section where we can charge people more?
It's referring to section 5.
Okay.
I just saw it as soon as I started talking about it.
Sorry.
The definitions for open burning, regarding section 4, it doesn't say like the size, it's just like slash, or a grassland fire, which no one up here I don't think is really gonna be doing, but, where's the threshold of that, like for someone who's just burning a bunch of branches, they cut off a dead tree in their backyard versus, cause it sounds like it requires a permit to do open burning. And so if someone's trying to burn up a bunch of dead, slash in their yard, are they gonna need a permit for that?
Yes.
I would assume so. I think probably the sheriff, you probably have some thoughts on this, but I would think, I would, people, so you don't have people calling in like the fire department and saying, hey, I see smoke, and that's the whole reason for having people, pull permits when they're doing open burns.
Okay.
It's like a $25 permit fee for a 6-foot wide slash pile.
That's kind of what I was looking for, what are the
Yeah.
thresholds,
And
like,
then a fire pit can't be more than 3 foot in diameter.
okay.
So that's your
So
that's
cut
your
your stuff
difference.
up to 2 feet 11 inches and
And
burn
get
up
it
all
in
your
that-
branches.
And get it
Okay.
in that fire pit.
Got it.
But it's really cheap to get the permit.
Keith, what do you think about the firearms issue? Most of could we say, obviously no firearms in the forest or woods, but the ranges are pretty fire resistant, aren't they? Or would you wanna advise us on that at all?
Yeah, so that might be a point of confusion too, because I don't believe that's in Forest Service fire bans. So if we create a firearms limitation during a fire ban, we wouldn't be able to enforce that in Forest Service if that's not part of their fire restrictions. So it would just come down to county operations. And so, yeah, I think that would be part of it, is to examine our current ranges, and if we're comfortable with continuing shooting at those ranges during maybe a stage 2 ban. I think they're pretty well built, but there's always the chance of a round going over one of the berms. Especially at the public range where there's not as much oversight as there is at the private range.
Do we have a ban on tannerite, right? The tracer rounds?
I think that's the only time we've had a fire at the gun range, is somebody using tracer rounds.
Yeah.
It went over the berm and hit the trees.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big
I'm
burn.
not aware.
I think you gotta be a
That's, and Eagle County's had issues with that as well. But wildfires started from that specific use of that type of round.
Hey, Heath, I do understand what I read from the Forest Service is that they will allow hunting rifles or anybody actually out hunting with a license. But anybody out target shooting just in the forest is not allowed with the fire ban.
With the stage 1?
Yeah, during the current fire ban.
So maybe we just leave that out. My other question too is the other fire that I'm familiar with is the train sparked a fire up, Buckeye.
Yeah. The treasure fire.
So do we need to make special provisions for them so they can operate, cause in the stage 2? And I mean, I know they were following with a water truck, but I just wonder if we need to address that, cause this may prohibit it, the way it's worded.
I
Prohibit
think
them
it started from a spark off of the wheel or something like that.
What's that?
It started with the spark off of the wheel or something like that.
Yeah. And there's,
Which section do you think prohibits it?
Spark producing equipment?
Spark producing equipment.
I mean, is that spark producing or did that produce a spark? Right, I mean, come
Isn't
on,
it the
right?
same thing, right?
It's not
So
the same thing.
that's a header, I think you gotta look to the actual operational language, which is 1 and 2. Operation of internal combustion engines without properly installed, maintained spark arrestor, welding, cutting, grinding, or similar spark producing activity.
Right.
Well, it didn't come from the motor, it came from the wheel.
Yeah.
And it started hours after the train had come by, a spark.
I mean, my read of it's not affect the train's operations, but
It'd be in their best interest to mitigate that, as I think they do when it's dry. Just curious.
I think by nature, the train operates in a fairly safe area. You know, if it were running down around Leadville North or something like that, you know, we'd be needing to really go over that with a fine tooth comb. It is close to your house, sorry about that.
There's a lot of dry sticks up there.
But there, I feel like what we saw with the treasure fire was it just went up and had nowhere else to go.
Yeah. Okay,
Not that I'm advocating.
I don't wanna spend too
It's still
much
What do
time.
you say, Andy?
Damn, yeah, that's fine, let them run. Yeah, there's higher risk areas, I think I would, if we were gonna get in the weeds on something.
Yeah, let's not get in the weeds.
It's a great ordinance.
Yeah.
Do you wanna make the motion, Andy?
Yeah. I will make a motion to approve the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2026-3, an ordinance concerning fire restrictions, open burning fireworks and fire ban stages in the unincorporated areas of Lake County, Colorado.
Seconded.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody need a break, a 5-minute privilege break? Or is it just me?
We
I
can.
think there's one.
It's been an hour and 40 minutes, so we're getting older.
We have 9 items on the agenda.
I'm not getting older over here.
So we'll take a 5-minute point of privilege break and resume here in 5 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We are resuming our April 7th meeting at 11:47 a.m. and moving on to 12:47. Moving on to item number 3, presentation of the Lake County Treasurer's semi-annual report. And this is led by Deidre, not Patrick. Okay. Go ahead, Deidre.
It's just the semi-annual report. It should have been presented to you guys in December, for July of last year through December. Patrick was on vacation, so that's why it didn't happen. So to make sure that we get it in front of you guys for that time period, that way you guys can look at it, approve it, and we could get it posted and published in the paper. And we need two statutory.
Has there been any movement? I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but maybe you can just expand on those LURA funds and the difficulties you're having with the LURA.
Yeah, so with the state breakout this year with that school, non-school taxing, two different breakouts, the LURA is not, wasn't able to get set up properly in Tyler. We're working with Tyler, and they are also working with the state and waiting to hear from the state on how everybody else that has any type of urban renewal, is dealing, how we can deal with the breakout and to get it set up properly in our thing. We've also reached out to Christine, our accountant, so we can see what has been distributed to LURA so far this year for the first 2 months of distribution. We're working on the third month now for month end versus what they should have been distributed, so that we have a clear on how we're gonna move forward until the state gives us guidelines. With everything, we just wasn't able to get set up properly in Tyler. Tyler's having an issue with that, so we'll have to do some manual journal entries to make sure that we're distributing them what they should be getting. So it's in process, it just hasn't, it's not like a quick fix right now.
Okay. All right, thanks for working on it.
Yeah.
Sounds complicated.
Okay, I move to approve the Lake County Treasurer's semi-annual report. You have to second it.
Oh, so yeah, second it. I will second that.
Now I'll do a vote.
Now do a vote, sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm just not hearing stuff. Hold on, I got my ears here.
You good?
Ex-chair.
I did the same thing.
Next chair.
Well, thank you, Deidre.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Second, we'll move
Thank
on to number 4. Fourth item on our agenda is discussion and consideration of a proclamation in recognition of April 6th through the 12th as National Public Health Week, and this will be led by Elena Medeiros, Public Health Deputy Director. Why are you laughing? Did I not say?
Somebody, no one's ever pronounced it like that.
Speak a little Spanish. I don't know.
Love it.
How do you pronounce it?
Medeiros.
Medeiros.
Yeah, it's Portuguese, but. Great. Good afternoon, commissioners. So yeah, public health is requesting a proclamation from our local decision makers to declare this week, April 6th through 12th, to be recognized as Public Health Week in Lake County. The American Public Health Association, along with communities across the country, celebrates the work that public health's done and continues to do by dedicating the first full week in April as National Public Health Week. This year's theme is Ready, Set, Action, and calls on communities to recognize how public health has improved our lives, safeguarded our families, expanded our lifespans, and strengthens our community. Our local public health staff would find it really valuable if our local leaders recognized it as well. Their commitment and daily efforts to protect and promote the health of our community shows through, every day and, through our accomplishments. And I feel like public health staff is often unsung heroes. We do a lot of work in like the prevention space. So something like this would mean a lot to us.
I will proclaim that April 6th to 12th be our National Public Health Week here in Lake County.
I'll second that.
2 vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is hereby proclaimed that April 6th and through April 12th is National Public Health Week, and we appreciate public health. Elena Medeiros.
So proclaimed.
A lot of Medeiros. Yep. You got it.
Congratulations on being the best department also.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I almost included that in our proclamation.
I know, I was
So, yeah.
surprised not to see it.
I didn't wanna brag too much.
I mean, it's nice
Brag,
that,
do it.
it's nice that the community is also recognizing the work that you all do.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt amazing, so
Yeah.
thank
You
you.
deserve it.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys.
I like reading them. So we don't have time.
Moving on. Item number 5, discussion and consideration of file 26-05, a commercial recreation permit for eBike shop to conduct electric bike tours during the summer operations starting May 15th, 2026 and ending October 31st, 2026. This will be led by Melissa Kendrick, Community Planning and Development Deputy Director.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you for that introduction. Mike Matheson is sitting behind me and he is the owner of eBike. And as you read, this is an renewal, our first renewal of our first commercial rec permit here in Lake County. And it is not an OHV because these are electric bikes, so levels 1 and 2. And so those are really simply considered bicycles here. So I just wanted to point that out since we had a healthy conversation earlier today. So I think you did a pretty good job at the summary of what is being proposed. They're continuing 2 routes. One is Trail of the Silver King and the other is around Turquoise Lake. Understanding bikes can go by even though cars cannot. So there are 2 trips per day or 10 people per day. These are 7 days a week. They run at 10 a.m. and at 2 p.m. So we have found this to be a pretty light touch. We did refer this out to our partners and we're not aware of any incidents, accidents, or other types of behavior that we would be concerned about in going forward. They, like they did last year, they really meet the requirements of the ordinance. They have lots of operational practices in place, I think, that have assured their success. And Mike can address those if you have questions about them. But based upon the findings in the staff report, we are recommending this favorably with 2 conditions. One is that they maintain the permit in good standing as they have done, and then anything else that might be represented today. So, that's it.
Okay, Mike, would you like to add anything to the presentation?
We applied earlier this year to get our permits. We apply for about 140 to 150 permits a year from probably 50 to 70 different jurisdictions. This one's just out of sync since it came upon us last year in July, so we moved it up to being our normal permit. So we're going early so that it matches all of our other permits that we operate in.
Nice.
Well, I really liked what we, we got really in depth with this last year and everything seemed really good, like I liked all the stuff we discussed at that, with your emergency preparedness and things like wag bags and all that stuff. So if there's no major changes, I'm good.
Yeah.
Me too.
Me too.
Okay, I move that we conditionally approve file 26-05 e-bike shop commercial recreation permit pursuant to the standard and approval criteria of ordinance 24-01, multi-purpose use on county roads. That they have been met as evidenced in the staff report dated April 7th for file 26-05 and is conditioned as follows. 1, the owner maintains a commercial rec permit in good standing with the county. And 2, that all statements and representations made by the applicant through the application and hearing shall be binding and considered as conditions of approval.
I will second that.
Good vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good job out there.
There you go, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can make one thing on your litter. We pick up a lot of litter. We probably make, on our behalf, probably 6 to 10 runs a year. Litter is now being put inside the abandoned mine sites. So it's being hidden from the public.
Yeah.
So just know that, a lot of it's on private property. But we were just up there scoping it out, tires and all that are rampant again this year. And the people that live up there, non-permitted, have already started moving back in. So, it will be a long summer for tour operations up there, so.
On the east side? Okay.
They've already moved back in, so.
Yeah.
It's warm enough, the roads are not as muddy, since we're up there daily, we pay pretty much attention to all of them. But the trash this will be our worst year of trash, because we'll make our first pickup as soon as the roads are dry. Because it's the #1 complaint from our tourists, from our people we guide.
That makes sense.
Well, thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
So,
appreciate chipping in and, any kind of observations you guys can make. It takes a village. We need all the help we can get with figuring out who's repeat offenders or, I don't know, if there's an ideal spot for a game camera or something.
if you ever need recommendations, we'll be more than happy to provide them.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Thanks.
Moving on to item number 6 on the agenda today, discussion and consideration of individual product order, IPO-01 with Kimley-Horn for the County Road 4 and Arkansas River Bridge Replacement Project. This will be led by Michael Irwin, our Public Works Director.
Yeah, so this is an IPO for the next bridge in our grant process with the NRD funds. Kimley-Horn's done all the engineering for the other ones, so we'd just like to use them again for this one. It's in our budget, we just need to go ahead.
I have no questions.
Neither do I.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the individual project order, our IPO 01 with Kimley-Horn for the County Road 4 and Arkansas River Bridge Replacement Project.
Seconded.
To a vote.
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Thank you, Michael.
thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Welcome.
Mike, can I just ask you a quick question? Did you say you closed County Road 4?
Yes.
Okay, that wasn't a dream? Why did you close it?
I can send you the email that I'm gonna resend to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
With the pictures of it, it's sliding off the hillside.
Oh, okay, in my
In this
mind, I
little
kept
area.
thinking County Road 4 from the cemetery down to the,
No, so
Bridge, got it.
it's from Abe Lee to
Yeah.
Hagerman Pass.
thank you.
You did a long way.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, that makes a lot of sense. The rest of County Road 4 is fine.
Yes.
Yep, okay.
It's gonna be a tough fix, isn't it? It's so steep.
Yeah, the engineering that was done in 2013, actually we got the final report in 15. They're suggesting a bridge to span it.
Wow, I remember you talking about that before. It's gonna be-
Yeah.
Well, it was like 12 million back then, so. There's
So
a
it might
couple
not
of
be
grants
approved.
coming up that are a possibility that we can look at. One is federally funded and could get some congressional help, that would be great.
Wow.
What are we gonna do?
Uh,
Like with the race series?
They don't use that section.
They
No,
do,
but
they
just
do
for
the north
emergency
section, but
access.
I know they do try to do some stuff like one way through there, but
Well, the big worry is gonna be, instead of the other side of the lake getting one pass from every bit of traffic, now they're gonna get double the traffic.
Yeah,
Since it's an out and back, and everything from Hagerman Pass.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a long one-way
and
road.
the other side of that road has some spots that are,
yeah, I was looking at those
Wonky.
yesterday to see what we could do to help those out this summer when we're paving maybe.
I feel like
Oh,
it might be,
man.
asking if the race series could move the aid station to the other side of the lake, like when you first come in and Mickey, instead of.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
I know, I did copy her
I
too,
mean,
but
it's a lot
I'll
of
make sure
people
that she gets
still,
copied.
but not a lot of parking, but if the
It's
road
just
is
for some reason
closed.
they didn't
Yeah.
send that, I'm not sure why.
it's major changes this summer. We've got empty reservoirs, we've got Red Cliff bridges going down, we got our own major recreational loop around the lake. Wow, Stuff is,
We'll sort through that MSA.
Fun.
stuff is falling over.
It wasn't closed last year, and I was driving up there, I didn't realize it was closed, and it was early in the morning, and just the little thing that closed that side, you didn't have any notice to write on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did take a picture, there's a sign around the corner before you get there.
It was one of the first things, I was like, Michael, can we put a sign on that? Mainly I almost hit it.
There's actually a sign on both approaches to it now,
Thank you.
So,
but you can't
well,
get
the Osprey dance will have some serious quiet this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
See you, Michael, thank you.
Moving on to item number 7, discussion and consideration of a supplemental request from the Clerk and Recorder's Office led by Candace Bryans, our county manager.
Tracy reached out a while back and asked if she could put in a supplemental request. She is trying to make some changes to her office since we're not doing any major remodels. And this is just a really low-cost solution to change where the driver's license office accesses relative to the secure voting area. And so what she would need is $2,000 for partitions and then another $2,000 for an electronic security camera, which is required for people to do their voting. And so what she is seeking is board direction and approval on the supplemental.
I'll move to approve the amendment to the, I'll move to approve the supplemental request from the Clerk and Recorder's Office.
I will.
Sorry.
Just,
Will you second that so we can talk about it?
yeah, I'll second that. Why is this needed suddenly now as when we've already been operating? I mean, I could actually, you know.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So, as you know, the driver's license office is that first little
Yep,
room
yep.
there on the left. And there is a secure door there that is required by state law for elections that holds all our equipment. It's also where all the counting is done for the, when elections are actually happening.
It's in the back behind the, like, go in and look
Right,
left.
so it was insanely, I mean, Jordan's trying to do her job, and she couldn't even do her job during election season because we're constantly in and out of there, judges are constantly in and out of there.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, that space does need a camera, so that would be the $2,000 for that new camera. By state statute, it needs to be there.
Yeah.
And then she is going to be partitioned in the back corner, which is also safer for her, simply because people just wander into her office. And a lot of these folks are mad because they've lost their license due to DUI or whatever it may be, and there's not a lot she can do to help, so.
Yeah.
It gives her a little bit of space too for some safety reasons.
Cool, so this like really enhances our
Oh, yeah.
DMV, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet,
Great,
that's all I need to hear.
do a vote.
Aye.
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 I'm just gonna put it out there, we did one posting about supplementals we mentioned today. We also mentioned that staff supplementals will be later in the month. We do supplementals quarterly, but Tracy needed to order these items in time to get them here, so that's kind of why we have them split up, just so you know.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. You're welcome.
Moving on, item number 8, discussion and consideration of an amendment to the lease agreement with St. Vincent Health for the coroner's facility, and this will be led by Matt Hobbs, our county attorney.
So this lease amendment was designed, as you may recall, earlier you approved reflooring the facility, so the coroner could actually use it. There was a little bit of sidebar discussion during the break, which when Stuart was still here, of whether this lease is even making sense for the county
Yes.
coroner at this point.
Good question.
Because it hasn't been really used at all. So probably my recommendation would be we go ahead and approve this lease amendment subject to legal review, and then sounds like there's gonna be some further exploration of whether this lease is even making sense at this point.
Excellent.
Before the $30,000 gets spent to, fix the floor. One of the issues I had with the lease agreement that I struck, there was language in the amendment that the county was responsible for basically any latent defect that was uncovered during the floor remodel. I'm like, no, God, agreeing to fix your entire building if we uncover some major defects. So that's really what's getting negotiated in this lease amendment right now. Stuart has not heard back from him. We struck that provision, but I would just ask that it be approved, subject to legal review and the understanding that there's further issues involving the coroner's facility that are happening.
Great.
You seem to know about this, how come I don't know about this?
I'm just really curious what it's being used for based on how many deaths we have and the fact that we can't do autopsies in-house, etc. I've been really curious since we did this, why is this necessary, and are there other ways that we could actually be having like potential MOUs with surrounding counties the way that we do with the jail, etc., etc. So I've just been really curious about the coroner's facility to begin with.
Matt, you stated he's not using it at all?
My understanding is it hasn't been used yet.
It hasn't been. I can give a little context. It's actually one of the first things I did was go and walk and see what we are currently doing.
Yeah.
It's just in one of the public works whole buildings in the back doesn't even have a real floor, which is really not ideal because then you're trying not to contaminate or drop anything.
Yeah.
And it's so tight to get the vehicle that you have to unload individuals from and into the cooler that we have. It's not great, and it also just feels really not respectful. So that's why we explored the other, options. I know that we used to have Chafee handle these for us because we didn't have a coroner for a while, and it just sounds like from a cost perspective, having someone else come up to get people and then take them out somewhere else was pretty cost prohibitive relative to just having a space and also just trying to get a hold of somebody, 24/7 when there is an issue. I think was really a challenge to work.
I just think that there's more there, and maybe, but I hear that we needed a new facility, like where our coolers were was unacceptable. But if we haven't used it yet, and like, are there other options as opposed to a whole facility, which we're actually trying to unburden ourselves from a little bit, and then just like how the coroner's offices run based on not being able to do autopsies, I'm really curious how we're using a facility, and if we haven't used it yet, what are we doing?
Well, we're asking Stuart to explore, could we do something different since we keep hitting all of these roadblocks?
Yeah.
So I think
And the lease amendment doesn't change anything fiscally or
Yeah.
anything. It just allows us, if we do go forward, to, fix the floor.
Yeah.
Are we able to get out of the lease, or is it a termed lease?
We're gonna look at that.
Okay. Wow, sounds like, we've been spending some money on something we didn't have to. Is he still using the cooler's still up the hill?
Yeah.
Dirt.
In public works.
I mean, that's what we've always done, but it's not really, we need to do something different, even if it's not this option.
And it's your turn to make a motion.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the amendment to the lease agreement with St. Vincent Health for the coroner's facility.
Seconded.
Subject to legal review.
Seconded.
To a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Matt, for working on that.
Yeah.
Let's see, is Mr. Wadsworth gonna join us? Wanna go grab him?
Gonna grab him?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bryce. It looks like you got an email back on the mineral rights subject with the assessors, and that seems resolved?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Should I pause for a minute? Maybe in.
81.
No, he's
Oh,
coming.
sorry, I didn't hear
Thank
this.
you.
78.
And Matt's just grabbing his lunch.
So I
It's
just
kind of
really
3
get human
degrees.
battery.
Hello, Mark, welcome.
Hey, this is not Gina here.
Yeah.
Hey Mark, how are you, sir?
All right, you feeling better?
Yes. That was horrible. I never get sick like that. Threw up.
Oh,
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. Yeah, we'll do this. I don't,
Thank you.
what orders you guys have? This is the other one, so that's one property, and this one is the other two. But only one of them is actually over 10,000, so.
Thank you.
But they're the same problems.
Okay, let me open this up. Item number 9 is discussion and consideration of abatement of the following. Account number R002756, Bird's Eye Land and Water LLC. Account number R002757, Bird's Eye Land and Water LLC. And account number R008135, Marcus McCarthy. This will be led by Mark Wadsworth, our county assessor.
The reason that we are having this is because this abatement is over $10,000, and to get it approved, it has to be approved by you guys first, and then it goes to the state, to the director of the Division of Property Taxation. And he says, yeah, that's fine, you made an evaluation here. That's the tax return or the tax amount is over 10,000. And then when it gets approved by the division, it gets sent back here, and that's when we actually process. The first ones are Bird's Eye Land and Water LLC. They're in a conservation easement. And for the tax year of 2023 and 2024, they were valued, for instance, the very top, the very first one, it was valued at $934,974, which is equal to $8,118 an acre. And for some reason that year when I came in, they had 100 acres and over valued higher on a dollar per acre value than things that were smaller. So that kind of added a little bit of an insult to injury with that value being 900, $1 million, because the only sale that happened in the time period for 2023 and 2024 valuation that was vacant was a $2 million land sale that is now Angel View. I mean, that guy paid a huge premium for that. I don't even know where they got that dollar per acre, because this was kind of set. It was set before I came into office. But when you calculate it how it should be, and this is my methodology I did on this, is when things go into a conservation easement and their agricultural use at the time, the assessor in the state is to value that land as agricultural. The two of the three that are on this list were not. I believe that Bird's Eye Land acquired them and put them in the easement too quickly to get agricultural status. They used all of those lots the same. And the particular one, the ones that's the worst off, the one that's 1098 James Placer, the 115 acre on the top, that one is, the majority of it is wetlands. But they did that conservation easement, I read through that several times, and it is more lax, I guess, than what I'm used to seeing, the agreement, that they do have 3 building sites within that entire strip that they can put houses, they can build a house on. So they have some development potential. They're not restricted on outbuildings as long as they're not, bad on the environment. They do have, public has access to fish there. I don't see where he's granted that, but that, these things would impact if he was to sell it. He can transfer his property. That was one of the things that I was kind of surprised to see too in the conservation easement, that bird's eye land can transfer and sell that property. But the fishermen can only fish on the north side of the Arkansas River. Apparently, the way it's written, everything from Arkansas south is off limits. He can block public from that. The conservation easement is mostly to conserve on the water, quality of water and view on these ships. But taking that into account, and the way that similar properties are valued in Lake County and throughout the state, because of its, so heavily restricted on its use and the resale potential, it's like, I wouldn't want to buy it because of all of the, it wouldn't be a typical buyer that would buy the property like that, because you can't do really much other than build a house. You're gonna have people, the building envelopes are on the north side of that Arkansas River, so, and you have to give, that's the whole reason for it too, was that what you said, and that fisherman access was a big deal on it. But I don't think that it gives anybody fisherman access.
The CPW came and talked to us about this parcel in particular,
Oh, really?
and they do have fishing access.
Oh, okay.
There's even a sign.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, learn something new every day,
Yeah.
just don't hang out on 91 as much as that.
Yeah,
Two access points.
yeah.
Oh, that's right,
They also said that,
I didn't know that.
conservation easements look like like every single one of them is different.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah, and this one in particular, the landowner only wanted to give it in a certain location and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
So
okay.
he did address this with us,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And and the way I valued it is there is a statute in the state that if you're have agricultural status and you're not an integral part of the ranch or the farm, this was designed for people that bought a second home on 40 acres and they have a lease with their neighbor for a cow and they want ag status, right? So the portion of that land can be valued at full market just to cover the residents. In this situation, it was 115 acres. I figured a 10-acre spot, full market would be fair, and the rest of it should be agricultural. And when I code it like this, that will prevent 950,000 from coming up again, because it's going to be coded as the larger part of it's going to be agricultural, and so that would stop the problems. So if you do that, and the 10-acre parcel sales back then, they're pretty hard to find. They're mostly mining claims that are backcountry zoned, and there's about 40,000. There was 2 that were developable parcels, one's down the boulevard, and you'll see on the map on the second page, those are the 2 that I kind of leaned in on because they don't have access issues. And there's already homes built on those 2 because they were sales, these are sales before June 30th of 2022 that I was looking at. And that came up with $1 million per acre of 10,000. And $714. So that portion of it would come up with $107,000 for the land value. And then you'd add in the agricultural, that's done off of a formula, and back then it was $166 an acre. Total value is reduced to $124,683, and that's way more in line. He waited a long time to even bring this in, and then that's why it's late. The 2023 value should have been changed, but he never protested, and it kind of fell through. But we're looking at an abatement amount of $18,759, 36 cents for 2023, 2024. The difference is the mill levy a little bit, and the assessment rate change is $20,191.43. And the total on those two is $38,950.79. And that one hurts. I've never done an abatement that big. Because it's vacant, so that assessment rate, everything was working against it.
So how does somebody get, so just a process question, Mark, how does somebody get an abatement even if you don't protest and you don't go through the whole process? Cause I thought that was the opportunity, so where is this opportunity for abatement?
You can file for an abatement in years that you do not appeal. If you appeal and you do not go further than the CBOE to the PAA, don't take it as far as you can. I can't grant them an abatement in that year. I know it's just messed up the way but that's how the law is. It's the people that don't protest timely.
Yeah.
They go through the abatement process.
Okay.
I know it doesn't make sense, but that's how it works.
Do you know what the pay actuals on 22 were on this property?
The what?
The actuals, like what were their property taxes in the 2022?
Oh, 2022, I have the values there just for reference. They had 233,000. And I can't tell you where they got that,
Oh wait,
and why
I
they-
see
why
the
they changed it.
valuations, I was just wondering what they.
Oh, I would think that, I did look, and one of the mill levies was 84 mills that year. Compared to, that was 2024. I would think that they would probably be pretty close to the same taxes that they have.
So then what's our rule? What is our rule? Do we approve the abatement or not?
Yeah,
I
don't know what would happen if you deny it.
Do we lower or raise the abatement? Like, where is our jurisdiction in that?
I mean, Mark, are you making a recommendation?
Yes.
So you're making a recommendation to approve?
Yeah, exactly.
The suggested levels?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if the board denies it, it needs to be approved by the BOCC to even get forwarded to the state property tax administrator.
How common is that to say, no, you have to go through the process?
I don't know what the answer to that
I've
question
never
is.
heard of it.
You've never heard of the BOCC denying an abatement?
No, I haven't. Well, not denying one that was being recommended at this high of a number, that sort of thing. I've surely seen commissioners deny the abatement.
On the map we're looking at, is the little section in blue separating our 2756 and 2757? And that's
The blue is 2756.
And then
Those other yellow parcels are also owned by them. Their level of reduction is less than $10,000, especially on there's two accounts. The other one's right below it. I put it on there because I was working them together. And there was an adjustment factor that was in the Tyler system on that one that reduced that land value by 50%. That's another thing that Tyler, if somebody goes in there and just decides to put 50% into a certain place in an account, they will reduce that value by 56 or 50% until somebody else goes in there and finds it and gets it out of there. There was no notes or no comments or anything. I don't know why that they would put a 50% reduction in one account and not the other.
Okay. Should we do one at a time, or should we go through all three of them? Through all three of them?
Probably all three.
Okay, so that's 56 and 57. Should we talk about 81 and 35?
Oh, yeah, okay. This one is a vacant lot that is owned by Marcus McCarthy out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it's a real similar thing happened. For those 2 tax years, he received a value that was really high. And he has 35 acres outside of Sylvan Lakes. And his value was $1,062,868. This is a really unique situation, and nobody can answer the question. He wasn't getting notices of value from my office since he bought the land in 2017. And since he lives in Florida, he just figured the taxes were high or whatever, but he called me up and I'm like, well, this is not accurate. He's part of Conway subdivision. And that's what happens when you subdivide something that's right next to a subdivision with smaller lots. And in 2001, I think, they used the land code from Sylvan Lakes to value this guy's property. Well, every lot in Sylvan Lakes owns about $130,000 for the land value. He has 35 acres. That's why he ended up with $1 million value. And that's why I didn't catch it, because when I came in 2023, it was apparent that in 35 acres and above were overvalued in this county, and I equalized all of them. But the land code said Sylvan Lakes and not at 510. So I was able to catch them almost all those 40-acre tracts, all countywide, but this one got missed. Because I thought that was Sylvan Lakes. And I can't answer, I don't know what, he's the only person in the entire tax roll that didn't get a tax bill or a tax notice or notice of value from the office that I can tell.
And you can see in your records when somebody doesn't get a notice of value.
Well, I can see when someone does. There's like the document each year.
Yeah.
And you can see when the notice of value, if they protest, there's a protest in there, notice of determination, all in that one folder for that year, and he doesn't even have any.
Huh.
And so what you're
Has
saying.
he paid taxes though? How has he paid
He's
taxes?
paid them. I told him to keep current on them.
He's paid them, but he's never received the notice of valuation.
Notice of value, he's gotta be getting the tax bill.
Yeah.
He never has gotten it. I mean, I couldn't produce, like you can just print somebody's notice of value. And as soon as I must have closed that account and held my mouth right or whatever, because he's got one last year. He's getting them now, he's getting the mail from us now. I don't know why he wasn't before. Because we weren't producing the document.
So you wanna bring the $1.06 million 35 acre value down to 441.
Yeah.
And
in that time period, I had, that land sale of that Angel View. And the other 40-acre tracts, there's one right outside of Mountain View East. And when you hit Escondido Flats, there's a 40-acre tract sale there for $240. There was another one that was down tracks, and that was $260. Arkansas River Valley, whatever that is, there's that skinny strip that goes down to the river, there was one in there, and that was $235. I mean, these are tied, and they're different places. But I think that 441 is a better reflection of the value for this parcel because it is in a premium location and it does have a water on it. It's got a pond on it, and that premium was 35%.
Where's the
And that's
30?
based off of a sale. I have that $400,000 sale that has the Tennessee creek that runs through it. And that's, you know, that's where kind of where I got that 441.
Okay.
But this one's large too. It's almost $12,000 per year that it was overtaxed.
So are we just abating this 1 year, or are you going
No,
back
it'd be 2.
2 years?
Yeah, you can abate current
I mean,
and 2 back.
this 8135, my understanding is that it would be closer to $32,000 of abatement.
Oh, I'm sorry, his
Is that
yes,
correct?
corrected taxes would be 12,000 a year instead of,
Yeah, different tax
Almost
amount, but the
30.
abatement would be
yeah, it'd be
$32,000.
15, you're right, it's like 32,000.
And then, okay,
It's as much as the other guys.
the abatement for the other one would be closer to $14,000, 14,200.
Okay, so his property's being valued by these calculations at $30,000 an acre. There are smaller parcels right next to him selling for $130,000 an acre. And you're saying that the 30,000 an acre is still too high. Plus, we had a smaller parcel, like a stone's throw north of that just sold for more than $500,000. And you wanna take them down to 441.
We're looking at sales that occurred prior to June 30th of 2022.
Yeah, within the window,
That's quite a while ago.
which I feel like prices have come down a little bit versus 3 years ago.
But wouldn't they go up again for this valuation you just did? Based on sales,
Yeah,
like even at the adjacent sales that you cite?
there was a sale that you may be looking at, that's the entrance to Cooper Meadows. And
Yeah.
up to Webster's gravel pit.
Yep,
There's some real iffy stuff that happened with those. Her name was Sandra Dirks, owns a bunch of 40-acre parcels there. She sold one and it ended up to being the wrong parcel, whatever that means. The guy that bought it sold it back to her, then that one where the road's going up there, that created 3 parcels out of
right,
one.
split it up.
And I'd have to really kind of look at the transfers and how that sale went down to see what exactly they bought. And it was like something Murphy.
Is 8135 subdividable and buildable?
That one, it would be hard to subdivide, I would think, because it went through a subdivision already, because it's lot 2 of Conway sub.
Okay.
Conway had a 40-acre, and he platted lots 1 and 2, 35 went to him, and he kept 5. But that's a land use thing, so I'm not real sure, but I think he would have a hard time subdividing.
I mean, this is where I'm always looking, and it's like, I just feel like 441 is really low for a 35-acre parcel with its own pond, and I mean, that's like a dream property. You put that on the market 3 years ago within that window, that thing's gonna sell like yesterday, like a heartbeat for that price. It feels like undervalued to me, but I'm also just going off of like a, hobbyist real estate listing view type of thing.
Well, that's why he has to look at actual sales, right?
I'm just reading the statute here, Mark, and you can help me my understanding on this. 39-10-114 says an abatement, subsection G says an abatement or refund of taxes must not be paid based upon the ground of overvaluation of property if an objection or protest to such valuation has been made. Okay, so it has been made and the notice is removed.
Okay.
So you're saying they haven't, made the protest, okay, yeah.
Right.
Never mind, answer my own question.
Nice.
Happens when you read stuff out loud.
Yeah. Preaching to the choir, yeah. Okay. Well, fun. So now our job is to say yay or nay to either of these. Right?
This is a very elementary question, I shouldn't have to ask this in a public meeting, but abatement means we're gonna give them back money.
Yes. And the amounts that we're gonna give back are, that are proposed to give back are
38,900.
14,000
Just do
and
like 70,000.
32.
Well, thanks for cleaning it up and.
Yeah, well, one thing I know that at least the one out on 91, as long as nobody goes in there and changes my code in there, that one will never be overvalued again. Not, if it is, it's not gonna be erroneous like this. And the other one, I took that land code out and it's going to be valued as the regular 35 acre parcel, not in some ways.
Mark, when somebody, I'm sorry, I can't remember, but when somebody gets their taxes, does it, I know it shows you how much you owe, but does it show you your valuation, or is that completely separate and it only happens?
This is the first time I've ever seen a tax notice go out by the treasurer and not have a value on it.
For this year?
For this year, the ones, the tax notices that just went out don't have the values on there.
Okay,
So I have to send out notices of value in May to everybody.
Yeah.
So it costs us a bunch of money in printing and you know.
So here's my clarifying question. So in 2020, for us paying our 2025 taxes, that is the first time where the valuation is not connected to the not on the tax notice?
As far as every year prior, the value of your house would be on your tax bill.
So this friend here who said they were not getting a valuation of a valuation of their property.
Yeah.
You're saying that actually in years before, for 2023 and 2024, before those valuations were on
They would have
their
been on
tax.
the, if he was getting the tax notice, that value was gonna be on their tax bill.
Okay, so he might not have gotten your notice of valuation, but he did know how much his property was being valued at to assess the tax.
If he read his account.
Wait, he got it,
He got
right?
it, he did get the value.
Because that's what I hear you bringing up, is that this person didn't know, when actually he did know,
No, I didn't say.
through his taxes.
He didn't get his bill, you know, and that's kinda nice when you get, an NOV because the protest procedures are
Totally.
outlined on there and all that stuff.
Totally,
But,
but he didn't
protest.
He didn't
And
protest,
He did not call me
his valuation.
until after 2 years of this value.
yeah, okay, so just wanna clarify that. This person has been getting it. Bird's eye. They've been getting their notice of valuation.
Oh, yeah, and
So across 2 years and all 3 of these properties, we're looking at $90,000 that are currently sitting in Lake
see what
County's
happens when you make a mistake.
tax rolls that we have to, that
It's not
you're
that much.
suggesting we get back.
It's not that much. 32 plus 14?
Both years, all 3 properties, about 90,000.
No, total amount of abatement here,
38 plus 14-ish,
31.
plus 15, plus 16.
You're right.
And this can be traced back to the state making a lot of changes to this Tyler system and how things are being reported and
Well, it's prior.
the calculations being done in this computer program that are not
Yeah,
boots on the ground reality.
It was bad coding in Tyler by prior appraisal staff.
This feels like this.
And there's, but it's my responsibility, I certified the tax roll. But there's no way I would have been able to catch every single one of those.
Yeah, no, I can get that. think the state would say if we just put this in their hands?
Does it go to the state after us?
Yeah, I'd have the state, anything over 10,000 a year is, needs to be approved by the director of the Division of Property Taxation, who is a brand new director. And Joanne retired after 20-some years.
Matt, should I just be looking at what I have in front of me and not doing like devil's advocate of like, what happens if we don't? Are they gonna sell the property to someone who's not gonna honor past things? And like, should I not be going down that road in my head? I'm just trying to keep my thought process with this within boundaries where, in the role that we need to stay in.
Yeah, I would probably confine it to, the legal process, not kind of a bunch of what ifs.
Okay.
I'm just kind of looking at the statute as we're sitting here.
If you, I don't know if this is an option or not, if you can go back more than 2 years in any reappraisal cycle to look for sales. I don't have a 40-acre or 35-acre sale that has a lake or a river really in that time period where I'm looking at the one in Conway Sub. And they asked for me to go back and give them a better report. Because I didn't go back in time, I just used the 2 years that's.
Well, I think the statute requires the taxes be levied erroneously or illegally.
Sure.
I'm not sure that not getting this evaluation is an erroneous or illegal.
No, it's not.
Taxes, yeah.
What is, I mean, just because you can go through this separate process of abatement versus protest.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we have to like approve the abatement process? I take umbrage with it, but I don't know if I'm allowed to make a decision based on like you had the opportunity to
if the
protest.
taxes have been levied erroneously or illegally, then, they've been overvalued, sounds like some of them have, sounds like there's a hodgepodge of different reasons, and then you have this one that's just saying you didn't get this notice. I think taking these up separately and handling it that way, but it's a bit of a wonky process for sure to not protest and then have this sort of backdoor mechanism for essentially protesting.
Yeah, after we receive the funds and make
Tax
plans on the
that
funds.
happens every time the tax notices go out.
Yeah,
I had a lot this year,
yeah.
more action to.
Okay, so let's address them one at a time, shall we? Should we do the bird's eye first?
Sure.
What do y'all think?
You're gonna make the motion, so let's do them one at a time? Yeah, one at a time.
Okay. The top one, number 1098, James Placer, 070979.
002756.
Yes, R002756. I move to reject the abatement.
Second that, to discussion. With what I have in front of me, looking at it go from $233,000 value to $934,000 value, that feels like a big jump to me. Then something, we got some wires crossed in our software that took some calculations into account that, yeah, that said, it's 115 acres in the Arkansas headwaters, and there are building sites on the property, even though it is being used for a conservation easement. Which is stated in front of me here on these forms. I feel like that one throws, the conservation easement really throws the curveball in this property at me, and I don't understand enough at this moment, sitting in the seat, of how that would affect the property value.
Well, even 10 acres. 10 acres, it seems like should be more than 120 or $107,000. To value the land at that is, it does not feel justified.
Okay, so let this one pass on up the ladder.
Yeah.
Do you know, Mark, do you know what timelines are on these things? Once this is out of our hands into the state, what would be like a window of our?
I think it's a 90-day.
Okay, so that is, okay. This is uncharted territory for me, I'm just gonna be fully honest.
The two sales, Mark, for this one that you're citing.
Yeah.
What did you?
The reason I use those is because they are somewhat restricted. They don't, it's not a 5-acre lot in Mountain Pines. I didn't want to use those because there isn't absolutely no restriction on them. They can, they have plowed streets and sewer. This is an inland conservation easement, and there is, the other three are valued total at like 17 grand.
Yeah, but what is I don't understand how 10 acres is restricted.
Well,
10 acres
one
are
of
not
those
restricted.
claims is up above the dock.
Uh-huh,
So that's seasonal, well, it's not seasonal because there's a house right there,
yeah,
but it's not an easy build. It's, that's what he paid for, it's 120 grand, and
I'm talking about the actual bird's eye property.
Oh, the
How
bird's
is
eye.
that restricted? Like, how is that comparable to restricted property?
Well, it's kind of tough to say why, but the conservation easement has a lot of restrictions on it. He can't, if he does things that are going to be deemed as destructive to the environment in any way, then conservation beach, whatever that is, central Colorado, upper Arkansas,
Sure.
they inspect his property every year to make sure that he's not in violation of any of the agreements that are in that conservation. And it's a 85-page document, and he can't subdivide it anymore. And I don't know where the 3 building sites actually are. They say they are defined, but I never saw where they were defined. As far as cutting down trees, this is the least restrictive conservation easement I've ever read. Not that I'm an expert by any means, but he has access from all sides. He can put a road through there if he needs to.
Yeah. He has buildable land within the 10 acres and 3
Yes, and
building
the
envelopes.
house sizes are not very restrictive at all. You can build 3,500 square foot homes.
So I guess it feels too low to me, and I don't think that
But I'm looking for like a market price, and would the conservation easement have an impact on the marketability and the sales price that he would be getting if that was to be sold?
Yeah, my impression is,
Would the director of the Division of Property Taxation be able to weigh in on that?
I've never had one.
And what are our timelines with this, like how long do we have to look into this and do homework?
It's up to us, right?
There's probably timelines, and windows that we have to work within, I would imagine.
But I'm sure that I'm almost a year late, that they'll wait a month.
Bryce had his hand up.
Oh,
Bryce, do you wanna contribute?
Yeah, I could just speak a little to the conservation easement side of things. So that was put on by Land Trust of the Upper Arkansas and now Central Colorado Conservancy. And a lot of their conservation easements allow for future building. You can designate future building sites, but it's always for a super low intensity use. And the purpose of these conservation easements was to take these away from intense development. These are right on the river, right on the highway. Essentially, they were prime candidates for pretty intense development like condos or something. And that's what Upper Ark was trying to get, preclude that happening. So the gulf of value between how you could sell the property now as is with the restrictions versus what it could go for on the open market without restrictions is pretty wide.
Yes. Absolutely,
So
but still the ability to
build a
build on it, a
3,500
massive
square foot
home,
home,
these
still
don't,
there.
I agree that there are restrictions and there's a difference in the market value, but I don't think that the comparable sales that have been presented signify similar restrictions that could give us a market value indicator, that's my
Yeah.
inkling.
You're not gonna find a sale with the similar restrictions.
No, I know.
I would love to. But it is, when you look at it as a whole, it's a 100 acre. These tracks are huge.
I mean, I think one option would be to table this particular one, and we can certainly dig in this a little more, see if we can answer some of these questions and arose.
Yeah.
And so the abatement statute's quite lengthy and complex.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry,
I'm gonna-
Matt. That means it's a lot of reading for the people we need to speak that language.
I'm gonna rescind my motion. Is that okay with you, Andy?
Yes.
Great.
I will second your resyndication.
You're okay with that? Okay. I will move to table
Rescission.
R002756 to our next regular meeting.
I will second that.
To a vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, then R002757. This is the agricultural land. Am I understanding that right, Mark? That was improperly coded?
On this Conway?
No,
Nope,
the
R002757.
second parcel of Bird's Eye.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's,
That's the stuff that should have been in the easement.
yes.
Yeah, okay. I will move to approve the abatement for R002757.
I will second that and go into discussion.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we treat these similarly since they are very similar properties, even though they do have different issues with the valuation change?
I mean,
Is this one more cut and dry for you guys? They both feel
This
pretty-
one should have gone into this one should definitely not have gone up, it went into a land trust, or a conservation easement. So I think it's pretty easy to say, yeah, that was a mess up,
Okay, the entirety of 2757 is the conservation easement?
yeah.
Okay.
The top one was the 10 acres.
Yeah.
The bottom one is
The top one
the,
says 115.175 acres. The bottom one's 114 acres.
but the top one is the one that's pulling out the 10, yes. But the issue in the change of valuation is that 10 acres should have been to developable land, the rest of it not. I'm disagreeing with I was disagreeing with that valuation. This one, I'm like, yeah, that was anyway.
I feel like I need more information on both of these parcels. And,
Okay.
I would not, agree with just moving forward with one and not the other.
Okay, I'll rescind my motion. Do you wanna make a motion?
I will make a motion to table the, abatement decision on R 002757 to the next available regular meeting? Regular meeting of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners.
I'll second that.
To a vote.
Alright,
Alright,
Aye.
okay. Now to our friend R 008135.
I will make a motion to deny the abatement of R 008135.
I'll second that.
On what basis would you like to deny that? Just don't feel like it's right.
Yeah, it's probably helpful to have some discussion about motion and the basis for.
Because I feel like the valuation of that was sent to them for a 35-acre parcel based on the information I have in front of me and the neighboring lots, that $30,000 an acre seems reasonable to me.
So you're saying there was no error or illegal levy taxes essentially? He just didn't get his notice.
Yeah. This is, I don't, the corrected value feels very low to me for what, during the time frame that we're allowed to look at what a parcel like that would be valued at, in our allowable window, that just seems really low. And I'm not saying the initial value sent isn't too high, but I don't think what I have in front of me, that's almost too big of a jump down.
Well, the other parcels of similar size were selling for the mid twos. 260, 280, I heard. Just because it has a pond, if it's a natural pond, I don't know, I feel like it's fine. I feel like I wanna trust Mark on this one, and it seems fair to me, if not a little bit high. Cause he bought it in 2017 for 300,000. I mean, things definitely went up over that period.
I mean, in
I think it seems fair.
2017, the houses that were $230,000 in 2017 are now worth $600,000. Parcels all over the county in 2017, I mean, we're not really, I'm only gonna address that because it was mentioned. I think we have to just stay focused within the time window that we're allowed to. And I felt like within that window, if that parcel went up for sale for this price here, I think that would have been an insanely low price for a 35-acre parcel there in 2 years ago. I understand it. Okay.
I think it's very fair. It's undeveloped, it's, of course, we're leaning on Mark's expertise. He's the one that did the comparisons. Can't just feel our way to up or down, I mean.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think where Mark gets thrown all these curveballs from the Tyler accounting system that's selling him crazy high stuff and crazy low stuff, and I'm just going with what I've seen and felt as the shopper. So just different perspectives, which is what makes us good and balanced, so.
Mark, on your facts sheet, you said that the typical land value in Sylvan Lakes estates which have smaller parcels is approximately $130,000 total. Do you mean for the entire parcels, or are you saying per acre?
No, for
In
the,
Sylvan Lake?
per lot.
Per lot, okay, okay. And do you know what the typical size of lots in Sylvan Lakes is?
I don't.
One.
Is that one of the metrics you can use? I know we talked a lot about this last year, which is that you can't scale things the same way once you get above a certain acreage.
Yeah, right.
Totally get that.
Mhm.
But can you use that as a little bit of a determinant to kind of right size the work that you do when you are looking for sales of large parcels, which are fewer? Can you use that as a determinant?
The only way that I know how to do that is to use a linear model, or not a linear model, a curved estimation, which is multiple regression analysis. That's using stats. I did build a model for 2023 using land sales.
Yeah,
I was not able to implement that model that I built because I built it before I knew this. Tyler would not handle such an equation.
okay. Okay,
But I can see it would come in at. But if there was no sale, I could show you guys the whole sales list, and there was nothing even close to $1 million.
yeah,
That was 40 acres. I mean, there was
Yeah.
only one sale that was Angel Q subdivision, you know.
and that's developable, like that was
Yeah, that's,
subdividable.
it's
Yeah.
a subdivision.
I hear that argument with this, absolutely, and with the other one, frankly. Okay, well, I significantly have distaste in my mouth for this process. And if I could reject it on the basis that you did not take the opportunity available to everyone to protest, I would reject this. But I don't think that that's actually an avenue available to me. So I'm gonna have to vote against our motion.
Okay, fair enough.
Do we need to take that motion to a vote?
Yeah.
To a vote?
Nay.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, I will move to accept the abatement proposed by our Lake County Assessor for R008135.
I will second that.
To a vote?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Go team.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Nothing personal.
No, I got you. I'm saying the same thing. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Mark. Wow.
That property's a unicorn, dude.
Is it?
I mean,
I just got a these contract on this. For a house, the dude's got 5 acres.
I have been hunting nonstop for a bigger property in District 1. We're just, you can't get them.
Well, maybe you could get that for a lot cheaper than it was. Based
Let's
on
see.
assessed value.
We're gonna move on here, folks, it's getting late, we're gonna move on to item number 10, county attorney updates.
I think mainly what I've been doing, you've already addressed on the two agenda items, I spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks on those two ordinances, that we thoroughly discussed earlier. Give you an update on sort of the land use litigation. We had a trial initially set for this Friday, I believe, on one of the cases with Mr. Consular, who was actually zoomed in here earlier, but he's looking for an attorney now, and so the court allowed him to continue that case. So that's just how litigation goes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stops and starts along the way. Stops, starts, and pauses before you finally get to an end point. The case from Tina to Kansik, as you all know, was dismissed by the court. All the claims were dismissed. The claims against the former county commissioners were dismissed with prejudice. They can't be refiled. I always thought those were probably the weakest of all the claims. Just for the fact that they're former county commissioners and they can't order an audit. They're no longer sitting where you're all sitting. So they were a little bit nonsensical, the claims, to be honest. And the court did give Mr. Kansik and Mr. Martinez the opportunity to refile their core claims, which I don't suspect that they will, but we shall see what they do. That case is now officially over. They're in their appeal period. I'd be surprised if they appeal the judge's ruling. It was a pretty solid that's my updates.
Matt, can you give us an update on the RHA, IGA?
I can. I've been prodding the city since we had that last one community meeting. I talked with Lori, and I finally got a draft from the city. I talked about it this morning, and I can't remember when the city sent it to me, but it was I think late last week when I got there, so I read my draft. So we will be able to finally, review that and, hopefully get to an end with the city.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Item number 11 is county manager updates. Candace.
All right, today marks 1 year that I've been the county manager. That's wild.
Congratulations.
On behalf of Lake County, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a dynamic year. I've worn a couple of hats.
A couple dozen.
couple of hats here and there. I'm really grateful for the experience and to have really awesome staff on board now and to be able to really work together to just make some really cool cultural shifts, which is possible now that I've got other people helping wear hats. So that's great.
More heads.
More heads for hats. One of the heads that will be here for a hat on May 18th is we extended the offer for our OEM position to a gentleman named Dan. I'm gonna refrain from saying his last name just to make sure he's gotten to communicate that. I think he has. He accepted the offer last Friday and we are so pumped to have him come on board. Josh and I will be attending the Colorado City and County Managers Conference in Glenwood the 14th through the 16th. I'm really excited. I applied for a scholarship because we had budgeted 1 seat with rooms as part of my contract, but I was able to get a scholarship to cover a 2nd seat and room and board for that. So I was excited to get that so we can slowly get everybody on board. We are likely, pending decisions made tomorrow on the courthouse. Well, actually, I think we'll be doing this anyways, but on the underfunded courthouse grant, we were awarded $500,000 with a $1.5 million match. We think that we can move towards actually making some of those changes to the space in terms of how it's oriented, regardless of what we decide to do, if we can get that grant match reduced. And so Heath had been looking into that, and he and I are gonna be trying to work with the courts to file documentation to get that match dropped. The Core Transit, the Youth Ride for Free program, was going to be canceled this year. They didn't have the match to the grant that covers that, so Gypsum pitched in a bit more than Lake County and Leadville, but the city and us, we split that second half of the match so that that program is gonna continue. That means anyone 18 and under can ride Core Transit for free.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We were awarded an EMPG grant, which we didn't know if it would continue or not from FEMA, and this covers a big chunk of that emergency management director's position, so that's awesome. Our auditor is gonna be here April 29th and 30th doing a site visit with our finance team. Our goal is to have our papers, which as soon as you hand your papers off to the auditor, that's when the audit starts. You can't change anything from that point on. We are shooting to hand those off by the end of May, beginning of June, unless something crazy comes up that we aren't expecting. So that's pretty exciting. We have been handing off our papers, much later than that in the past, so we're excited to get that cleaned up. There is a polar plunge event that Keith and his team will be putting on. It is, the polar plunge event has a sauna and soup at the Matchless Boat Ramp at Turquoise Lake on April 25th from 11 to 2 p.m. And this is gonna be a fundraising event to start that life jacket loaner stations. So we as a county know we can't man them for liability reasons, but we wanted to be a part of being able to help support funding those. So we are gonna be working to raise, or I should say his team is gonna be putting that on. And we just wanna get the word out so everybody else can show up.
Go do some cold plunging, huh?
Yeah. I'll be out there cheering more with my feet in the shower. Last thing I have is I want a little bit of guidance. I've had some interest expressed in resurfacing the skate park, and I just want to have a collective board direction on whether you'd like us, aka us steward, to go and explore options for what it might cost. And the only reason I would like for it to be a group direction is that we don't have it budgeted, so, if we can handle it in the house and it's low cost, great. But we are gonna have to come back and do a supplemental, so before we spend time researching, just kinda wanna get a sense for, we're all good with me exploring those options, then we'll come back and bring them to you, you can make a decision for supplemental.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that.
Well, I got pictures of what it looks like if you guys need to see why.
I've been there.
Okay.
That's it, that's all I have.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Candace.
Thank you. Yes, let's fix the skate park.
Can we get a paddleball court priced out too?
There's paddleball.
What's that?
There's
Do you mean
paddleball.
like
Pickleball.
pickleball, like tennis courts?
Just kidding. Although it would be cool.
Let's fix what we have.
Okay.
You got grooming. Give me the skate park.
What do I get?
Bring
You guys
it.
remember? I don't care whatever I want. Cool, just checking in. That I still had a tab with this crew.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That'll come up.
Okay. Let's see, that concludes this portion of our meeting. The next portion is executive session.
Can we take 5?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Sure.
Could we move to go into it and take 5? So that it's all together?
Sure,
And then everybody
that
can
probably
leave?
makes some sense, and then, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move to go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, section 4B, for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the county attorney regarding water rights, water service, and related legal issues associated with the Mount Massive Golf Club, and pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4E, for the purpose of determining positions and instructing negotiators regarding the lease agreement with the Mount Massive Golf Club. No formal action will be taken in the executive session.
I would second all of that.
We want to read 13 as well, because we'll discuss that in there as well.
Yeah, that'll be when we come back.
Okay.
Can we go to a vote?
To a vote.
Aye.
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 Okay.
Okay, water.
A motion to go into executive session has been made and seconded and approved. We will now go into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024 B for the purposes stated in the motion. No adoption of any proposed policy, position, resolution, rule, regulation, or formal action will occur during this executive session. The executive session will be electronically recorded as required by law unless the county attorney certifies that the matter constitutes a privileged attorney-client communication and therefore is not subject to the required recording requirement.
And maybe you want to just make a record, Chair, of who all is in executive session, since we have quite the crew today. I'll note, for your information, that Madeline Wallace Gross is present on Zoom. She's our water counsel from Lions Gaddis. And then Bryce, maybe you could introduce your folks.
Sure. Yeah. I have Adam Kremers and Sky Ziliox. They're here. They are our engineers with Brown and Caldwell that handle all our water engineering.
Okay. Also in this executive session are Commissioner Tharp, Commissioner Lee, and Commissioner Bullock, County Attorney Candace Bryans.
No. It's hard, this is the hardest thing to do.
I was gonna write this part down.
Training wheels.
County Attorney Matthew Hobbs, County Manager Candace Bryans, Bryce Ulrich, our Water Management Supervisor. How about
you introduce yourself? Well, yes.
Sure, Josh Becker, Deputy County Manager.
Deputy County Manager.
Rachel Sealer, Assistant County Manager.
That's the easy way to go. Okay. That does it for introductions.
Okay, now I'm going to make a certification. We are now in executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024B for the purpose of receiving legal advice from the county attorney regarding the massive golf club, its lease, and water rights that the golf club is now acquired and our own water rights. I hereby certify that all or a portion of the matters to be discussed in this executive session are protected by the attorney-client privilege. Therefore, pursuant to CRS 24-6402, subsection 2, D5, subsection 2B, the electronic recording of this executive session may now be stopped.
We will now come out of executive session.
Wait, is Amy ready?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Fast. The board is now out of executive session and has returned to open session. For the record, the board discussed only the matters identified in the motion to enter executive session. No formal action was taken. If any member believes discussion went beyond the scope of the motion, please state that concern for the record now. Hearing none, is there any direction to staff or motion related to the matter discussed in the executive session? There is some direction, and I will direct staff and our representatives to relay this to the golf course board. We're feeling like in this dry year, we're coming from a position of scarcity, and our main goal at the county is to protect our water rights and also monetize the water rights. We'd like to reassert our ownership of the well on the golf course property and also the water rights contained within the well. That being said, we like the idea, or we're open to the idea maybe on a temporary basis. And so what we'd like to explore is moving forward with the proposal for 1 year and make sure that the golf course knows that this is a really big decision for them and could affect the future of the golf course if the deal that they proposed doesn't work out. So at the next meeting, I think we outline risks and strategies and see if we can come to terms with some sort of temporary agreement, maybe a 1-year agreement, so that we're not, we don't want to lose the golf course. It's the last thing we want. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Matto. Thank you, Sky. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thanks all.
Grace, we'll reach out to you and figure out what, if anything, you want us to do to help facilitate the direction.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve this consent agenda.
I will second that.
I would like to say I'm really happy to see all the Leadville lifetime units on here and early, not in June, so thanks for doing that, and I will take that to a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's see, are we gonna close this and move into a Board of Health meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. This concludes the Lake County Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is 3:53, April 7th. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
I need to leave. Okay, welcome to the Board of Health meeting. It is April 7th at 4:00 p.m. And we will now open the Board of Health meeting. And our first and only agenda item is a discussion consideration of findings of fact and conclusions supporting the previously approved variance for Alpine Flow's Vault Privy On-Site Wastewater Treatment System, or OWTS. This is led by Matt Hobbs, our county attorney.
So this is pretty much what the draft that you all had looked at before. I did run it by Ann, and she had some input, and we revised it a little bit based upon her input. But all the conditions are the same, the conclusions are the same. We just kind of tweaked a little bit of the language. So.
Matt, are we supposed to approve a findings of fact every time?
It's best practice.
Okay, I don't know if we ever have.
You haven't.
Okay, great, I was like, why is this one different this
And
time?
there's definitely times I'm doing it and times I'm not, just based upon time and everything else. But yeah, best practice is to do that every time. Certainly, I've been focusing my energy on sort of the more controversial applications when I've been doing it.
Oh yeah, and you're still fairly new, I'm just saying we've never done it. Okay. Wonderful, well, I will move to approve the findings of fact and conclusions supporting the previously approved variance for Alpine Flow's Vault Privy On-Site Wastewater Treatment System.
I will second that.
To a vote.
Aye.
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 Cool.
Yeah, that concludes our Board of Health meeting at 4:01 p.m. on April 7th. This is a reminder that all packet materials for agenda items are available upon request. To subscribe to email or to text notifications, please visit our Lake County website. Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
That's it.
Thank you, Chair.